It's meant to last. Come live with us down here in the underpass. Come live with us down it's here in the underpass.
to the trial of Scotty. I've got to mute this tab because I'm hearing my voice, but now we're all set here. Yeah, it is time for some Brawlhalla, some Southeast Asia action. My name is Skiff. With me is AJ. AJ, how are we feeling today?
I feel good, man. I mean, we've been watching this bracket going on in the background here, and now we're coming up into the final top 6 of this event, and we've had some crazy upsets so far in bracket, and I can't wait to see what's going to be happening going forward.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty good. As we take a look at the was it top 6 here so far? We got Himwe going 3-0 over Tiger, and right now we've got Keith the Poo Poo and the Plum going to be coming up here in just a little bit, it seems like. So should be a pretty good time. If you're not familiar with Southeast Asia, definitely a bit of an underrated region. There's a lot of really strong talent. It's mostly at the top, but they're dedicated, man. They're here. They're ready to play. So I'm excited to get into this. It's one of my favorite regions to watch, mostly just because of Keith. I think he's just phenomenal to watch in general, and plus, funny name, makes me laugh. So
yeah, and I mean, Keith is PR number 2 for a reason. I mean, he's been going crazy in a variety of different events, not just in officials, but also in community events as well, including the SEA Showdown events that are the tier 1 partners for Brawlhalla community events. And he's been winning those like crazy. He won the January one, he won the February one. He got second in Trial of Ymir, but it's been a couple months, right? We're now in April. It's April 19th today, and there's been a couple months that have passed, and now he's in top in winter semifinals, and maybe there's some new opponents to really approach him. We'll have to kind of see how that goes, but when it comes down to that, I mean, we'll have to see how they really do, and it's going to be a very good match to see how they do against the Plum.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for sure. Like I mentioned, the top talent within SCA is pretty solid across the board. I mean, there's definitely a few players who could definitely show up and just kind of take it from here. I think Himwe won the last one I casted. I'd have to double check that. But yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if it ends up being Keith for Himwe in Grands, because I don't know, I just feel like in my gut of guts, that's a weird thing to say, but I feel like that's just what we're gonna see.
We'll definitely have to see. I mean, when it comes down to this too, I mean, we also are going to have people coming from the elimination side. I know some people got knocked out pretty early in pools and are trying to make that comeback, right? And we'll have to see. I mean, top 8 is top 8 for a reason. You have those upsets in the elimination side that come through, and they're the underdogs. And I like to root for the underdogs when it comes down to the events, because they're the ones that can make a huge impact on how this event plays out. And if they have that momentum, man, I mean, especially Southeast Asia with all this amazing high talent, it's going to be interesting to see how they really take it to the next level in their gameplay in Southeast Asia. It's stuff that we wouldn't see in North America, Europe, or South America.
Yeah. Anyway, let's actually take a quick look here as I want to see if these two, I mean, I feel like they just played at this point.
Let me see.
Am I forgetting something here? Oh yeah, there's that little that has it right in before the name.
Yeah, we're trying to pull up stats of the Plume, and his stats are like high, no. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to Keith, though, I mean, we know a lot about Keith, and the Plume. I mean, when it comes down to what they've had in tournaments, I mean, they got 4th in the winter doubles, so that's of course doubles. But then when it comes down to the 1v1 major that happened for Ymir, they got actually 5th. So they're definitely a very high contestant for getting into top 8 and beating Vortex, Laz. Lost to Himwe and Tiger, right? But I don't think they played Keith in that event. So this is actually, I think, the first time they played this year. So at least in majors, I want to see how they kind of go back and forth. And I mean, when it comes down to Keith, I mean, even like you're seeing on stream, I mean, they're known for playing a little bit Thor. They've gotten 1 first place, a couple seconds, and 1 third with 19 top 32s. While the Plume is kind of more getting into the majors a little bit. Got 6 top 32s, 4 top 8s, and I mean, PR 8. So, but when it comes to the Keith, I mean, there's Thor on there. They've also played a lot of Sentinel. They played a lot of Sentinel going into Trial of Ymir, going at some notable names like Sphinx, Tiger, and Malevolent. Also playing a little bit of Zuri and Taros every so often. So we might be seeing that Sentinel pick come out from them. While the Plum is set up as Hattori. So I want to see mean, the hammer, I mean, right now with guitars and hammer, I know a lot of people have been going back to that hammer in North America a little bit, kind of messing around with it, not really maining it as a main weapon. I know guitars has definitely been on the radar for a lot of players going into the next couple months. So we'll have to see how Keith is able to use that.
Yeah, time is a circle. I know guitars aren't a circle, but they always find a way to come back and just kind of pester everybody for like a good couple of months, kind of like you mentioned. So yeah, I would not be surprised. I just don't think guitars are ever going to leave, really. Unless like they're absolutely gutted. I just don't see them ever leaving. They're one of the fastest weapons in the game. Great combos, and sometimes that's half the battle. Just having a quick weapon that can open up to a lot of different combos. Sometimes that's all you need, and that's just good enough for people. Like, I mean, kill power be damned. We'll get those knockouts one way or another, right? But if I'm just able to win neutral over and over and over again because I'm just faster than you, then yeah, that's good. I'll take it.
Well, and I like what you brought up where you had this, time comes in a circle, because guitars can go in a half pipe, they can go in a half circle, right? And
yeah,
with how, like you brought up, with the speed of the guitars, you can combo very well. And if you get that dodge read, or if you go for a dare silent and you get the dodge read, you can go in for a silent downlight recovery. You can go in for a variety of different options that we might see coming out. And I want to see how the Plum does against them going forward. But Keith might be playing the Azoka. Ooh, okay, which is the most recent Brawlhalla mythical crossover. And we've only seen a couple of the crossovers in Major, and it looks like Keith is going to be showing it off for Southeast Asia.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how this plays out. And then we got the Hattori on the other side coming here from Plum. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be getting our stage strikes going on here, and we are about to get into this. I am super excited. It's always good to see some high-level Brawlhalla action. So yeah, I'm just ready to see how this is going to play out. Let's rock.
All right, and we're getting into this first game, and I don't know, I think we're going to see a lot of the mythical crossover like weapons coming into play, because a lot of players are not used to those yet, especially with guitars and how they sound. It's an adjustment for a lot of players, and I think Keith is going to be taking advantage of that as we go into game number one. Right now, Plum's got that sword. Keith's got his guitars. He's going for neutral dare. It is dare, side air, already dare off the ledge. The dare, he's already gone the first time within 15 seconds. Keith, what are you doing with those guitars?
Oh my goodness, this is what I'm talking about, right? You don't need the knockout power if you're just able to smother your opponent off stage, on stage, any stage. It's just how it works out. And man, that's a crazy start. Oh, here we go. Might be going for round two. Never mind. Finds a way back onto the stage here. Ugh.
Dude, these side airs are just throwing Plum in a circle, and really, I mean, Keith is just going back and forth these silent downlight true combos, making sure he can get that confirmed damage, and he's going for these side air options to really launch Plum off the ledge and maybe go for these knockouts. But Plum is already in the red of that second stock, and we're not even a minute into the game right now, Skip, and the recovery comes out.
Yeah, that's just knowing how your opponent's going to be recovering here. And, I really like having the lightsabers in here, too. The sounds are just always like I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, right? But the lightsaber sounds just satisfying, right? Just hearing that and these combos, oh, that just feels so good.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that right now. I mean, Keith is just throwing Plum into this crazy feud, and you're seeing Plum try to get these spear recoveries on Keith, trying to use that spear to kind of keep that range. But hey, I mean, Keith's showing his skill sets. He's willing to go in unarmed a little bit and mess around with Plum. Plum takes advantage of that, but actually doesn't go for the knockout option. Wasn't able to, and Keith might get 3-stock on Plum. Oh, that is it. Keith just 3-stock Plum in the first game on mainstream, and that's the way to do it. And this is why we like Keith. Keith is fantastic with those guitars. He would just sort of mix things up towards the end of that game, Skip, and I mean, just showed his power.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
Like we saw what the first stock disappear in like 15 seconds, and then like it just never got any better for Plum. Hopefully, it's just, hey, I can't even say they needed some warm-up time because they've been playing all day today. Maybe they're just running out of gas. Maybe that's what it's really coming down to. The gas tank is just you know, kind of sitting at empty there a little bit, and maybe they're just tired or something. I mean, the other side of it is like we saw the stats earlier. Keith is 7-0 against Plume lifetime.
That's true.
And it's Keith, right? Like Keith finds an opening and that's it. Like that's pretty much like the stock's gone. Like you're not going to get like second chances that often if he gets a crazy opening like that. So yeah, you got to make the most of your time here as we get into game 2, going right back to Apocalypse because why not? You know.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they're going. I think if you're Keith, you want to come back here. You know, it looks like they're going to go ahead and fix things up here a little bit. But if you're Keith, you know, you're going to want to go back to Apocalypse if you're able to. I mean, you just won on that map, right? You have the momentum, you have that speed, and it's going to be definitely something when it comes down when you're facing Plume to your advantage. And Plume's going to try to mix things up a little bit. He's going to try to throw things around, but yeah, I mean. When it comes down to the Plume, he's got to find that because what's happening is Keith is getting very aggressive. He's got to find that neutral control again. I mean, that was a thing that we saw, and even going back through the replays a while back, I mean, he was just being aggressive. Plume didn't really know how to respond. He's going to have to do something with that spear. I mean, that spear is what he was trying to use a little bit, but he kept on going for these recovery options to kind of keep him in the air, but couldn't get that sort of control back to get that damage built up.
Yeah. I wonder if there was just some, because they're not in the arena anymore here, so I wonder if there's just some issues probably needing to reset here. We'll find out in just a little bit. But yeah, you know what? It's probably not a bad idea to also just be like, hey, I need a quick little breather because that first game was very, very quick. So we'll see what's going on with that in just a little bit. But yeah, happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday indeed, man. And these are the games that we're going to be seeing in Southeast Asia. Oh, this is going to be amazing grand finals. I don't know. This is, I mean, I don't watch Southeast Asia a whole lot, right? But when I do, it's always some crazy matches that we're not used to seeing, and the talent has gone crazy. It's either one-sided completely, or it's these very, very close games that go crazy. They'll go back and forth on stocks and very cleanly.
Yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of actually like casting SEA often, and yeah, it's always just a good time. Keith has honestly become one of my favorite players, just due to the fact that they're absolutely insane. They're really, really good at this game. They play like an absolute monster. And again, like I mentioned before, funny name, makes me laugh. So definitely sticks into the noggin really well. But here we go, getting into our next game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the name part. We're going into game number 2. And this is another pick that Plume actually has played a couple times in a couple different events as well. Which they played in the Summer Championships last year, which is the Val. They played actually against Keith. Well, Keith was on the Orion. We had Le Plume on the Val, and maybe this is the pick that can adjust to Keith's aggressiveness and speed. I mean, Val's got a lot of speed with that sword. You got the gauntlet options as well. And right now they're just battling out with sword, and Plume's starting to take advantage of Keith's neutral control now.
Okay. Ooh,
okay.
The weapon toss. Yep, keeps him off stage, gets right into those guitars, and keeps the aggression going like they never even left that ledge. So honestly, that was just really clean stuff there. Good defensive work. But oh man, right now it's just coming down to Plume just trying to maintain some stage control here, and when they have their footing underneath them, like they're able to play. I feel like the neutral here a lot better, especially having this sword at their disposal.
Yeah, and I think right now Keith is, once he has that control, he's able to get a lot of damage build up because that's how guitars and sword are. But once Plume kind of gets into the rhythm of it, they're able to do something. But they actually go ahead and go a little bit unarmed, launch Keith off the ledge so he can pick up that sword, take that neutral control from Keith. Now you're seeing Keith kind of having a rough time really being able to attack and get that center control again, and Plume takes advantage of that with that recovery option.
Good. This is exactly what I really wanted to see from Plume, because that game 1 was terrible, man. It was not good. A 3-stock to get things started never sets a good precedent. But we get right into this game 2. You get to the character switch here, and things are just looking up a lot more smooth for you all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Plume's actually going for some risky options as well. We're seeing them go all the way to the sweat beats on their character. They're willing to go into that final recovery, that final option to really get back to that ledge. And he's not really been needing to do that a whole lot compared to what Plum's going to have to do, but Plum had to change his playstyle completely. But as I say that, Keith comes in, takes the platform control and gets the guitar down signature, go ahead and make stocks even. But I mean, just really comes down to this platform control this game.
All right. Now we'll see where things go from here, right? Decent little combo, ended up falling out of it. Yeah, again, twice the same thing in a row. Just was not able to convert after that second hit. Again, yeah, just go. We literally saw the same thing 3 times in a row there, AJ.
Well, and the reason he's going for it is because it's a true combo. Silent downlight is a true combo on guitars, and Keith's taking full advantage of it. If that's going to build damage up with guitars, you know he's going to definitely take advantage of it. And now we're just kind of seeing him going for these ground pound options off ledge and trying to play around a little bit while he's got this advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just the 1 and the 2, it was the 3. That's the part that I was talking about, is just missing that third hit. But yeah, either way, I mean, Keith's definitely trying to find his way, find his footing here. This Val pick has definitely been super solid. This sword here has been huge. Now they find a way to get back down to the stage, has some stage control here. Keith now in a troublesome position, but does thread the needle to get back on stage themselves. And I don't know, there's something different actually, I feel like, from Keith's gameplay here in this game too. It just feels a lot more sluggish.
He's having to respect Plum's, you know, range of attack now, because Plum was really punishing him for what Keith was doing originally in the first game. Oh, but as I say that now, Keith comes in and does go and knock out Plum of that second stock, but he's still very low on that final, and it's going to really change his style going forward realistically, right? Because he's used to playing that aggressiveness. That silent down is going to be coming out a lot more, and Plum's going to try to go for these knockout options.
I mean, yeah, he may as well, especially with the gauntlets in hand. These things can pack a punch, literally. But there he goes. It's right off stage. It's not going to be enough to take that stock quite yet. And I feel like Keith has probably got one more shot at life here to try and find a way to sneak this game too. Because, I mean, it's kind of weird to see them battle from behind here, but this is huge. Big setup. Is that going to be enough, AJ? No, finds a way to get the wall touch. Almost absolutely stole that. Plum finds a way to clean it up, but my goodness.
Dude, he had that combo down. Keith had the opportunity to knock out Plum of that second game, but just could not find that option against Plum. And Plum took advantage of it. He came back to that ledge, you know, but that was a huge combo coming in from Keith. It was a silent down late into a dare, silent dare, if I recall. And we'll see it here shortly, but Plum came back with the down late recovery. That's all it took to go ahead and take game number 2 to Plum. But man, if we're seeing those exchanges on Val from Plum and guitars from Keith, this is going to be an interesting game, because Keith is starting to final back a little bit. He's starting to find that playstyle advantage.
Yeah, and yeah, that was just crazy. Just watching that final stock. I mean, getting that combo for one is already like super insane, but to be able to come back to the stage and then clean it up, like keep your mental together, like when you almost just lost it all, it definitely is a little bit terrifying here. But we're gonna see if Plum can find a way to sneak this game 3 out of here after a strong start from Keith and then a strong finish in that game too. I mean, wasn't able to get it, but still, Keith is still not a player that you can sleep on.
And we can't sleep on him going into game number 3, because he's already has Plum into the orange of that third stock. He's just been landing these side light, down light, neutral airs, a lot of these recoveries, these side airs as well, and is very confident with how he's playing. And Plum's just having a rough time adjusting. Keith's even going in with the unarmed ground pounds out of nowhere, right? So Plum's coming back a little bit, but the recovery comes in.
Yeah, oh, wow, okay, just kind of diving right into that. Now has their footing here, and yeah, Keith is trying to keep this aggression up. It's just a matter of just trying to find that opening here, because like what I do like is Plum is maintaining this aggression, you know, trying to you know, stay 1 foot forward and just trying to keep this pressure up as much as possible on Keith, because it seems to be working for the most part. Even though Keith does have a nice little lead here, okay, this should be able to clean it up if he finds that hit he needs. He's looking for it, and there we go. Takes out that first stock in game 3.
Yeah, and Plum keeps on dashing into these side airs from Keith as well. I mean, he's trying to be aggressive to counter Keith, but Keith is getting this like open frame data on on Plume, and Plume's getting punished for it. And that's why they went down to the second stock. But as I say that, Plum's like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get that knockout option on Keith, make things 2 stocks all with his gauntlets and go back to sword and do that damage build up. Oh.
Okay. Kind of just getting their feet back onto the stage here. A lot of scrambling, I feel like, in this game 3 as well.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of whiffs here. No punishes really coming that hard out of it, but like it's both of them just really kind of jockeying for position, trying to see that opening if they can get it. Yeah, man, it's just there's not a lot of like a lot of combos happening right now. It's just a lot of onesies, twosies, really, and then just kind of backing off.
Yeah, they're almost going in the air a little bit where they're having a rough time comboing. They're just trying to go in for aerial like control, but a lot of these weapons require platforms the platform to get a lot of damage build up. So they're just trying to go back and forth a little bit. These 1 and 2s, like you said not too long ago, which was a fantastic thing to bring up. And now we're seeing Keith in the air. He doesn't have that neutral control. Katars need that neutral control to do damage build up, but both these guys just need a knockout, and Plume comes in with that 2-piece knockout option. And if you're Keith, you gotta go ahead and try to be aggressive like you were while you're on that final stock.
Okay.
Air, neutral air. Nice recovery.
There's certainly... Ooh, oh, okay. Almost got the nice little conversion out of that, getting the little pinball effect going off the stage. But yeah, cleans up that second stock here. And Plume still has a nice solid lead here, right? I wouldn't, nothing to write home about because it could easily be turned around here. But oh, that's a huge opening. This could be bad news. And wow, we see Plume take game 3 here. Goes up 2-1. Definitely was not something that I was expecting to see today.
No, and that double ground pound just has so much force and momentum with it, and you saw that going into that final stock, and I think that's why gauntlets are very used a lot as well, is because they have a lot of momentum with them when they go into their knockout options. Look at that ground pound lead into that second. Keith didn't have any other options to come back to the ledge anyways. He barely would have not been able to touch that ledge even if he missed that second ground pound. But that second ground pound was almost the confirmation of saying, hey, you're out, and let's go into game number 4.
All right, yep, going right back to Apocalypse as well. Because I like this stage, but man, I've been seeing this stage a lot lately.
Well, just because I think if you're if you're Keith and Plume, you're gonna like it because of the momentum it has and the ceiling that it has as well. But these guys are going off edge and going crazy, and Plume's a lot more comfortable with his gauntlets now going against Keith.
Yeah, no, it definitely took that first game. And while I was worried that Plume had lost some gas or something, it definitely seems to not be the case. It seems like it was just, hey, I kind of need a character switch. And it is kind of a game to not necessarily warm up, but just kind of figure out what type of momentum that Keith is going to be bringing to this set so far. And right now, man, Plume's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's bringing Keith off the ledge, and he's kind of been keeping it even back and forth, right? I mean, Plume was able to go with gauntlets a little bit more and try to really punish Keith, but now we're seeing Plume on that sword, trying to take a center control from Keith, but that sidelight downlight comes in true. That sided from Plume comes in as well. Tries to go for a risky ground pound option. Keith's gonna punish that a little bit, but Plume comes back a ledge, but we're seeing a lot of weapon throws, ground pounds from Keith, but that weapon throw from Plume keeps Keith on that ledge. Plume now is gauntlets, trying to punch him off ledge, but he's throwing Keith around like a volleyball right now.
Yeah, Keith is definitely struggling here. Yep, there goes that first stock. Great little ledge trap. Clean up there, and now Keith back against the wall. Just needs, look, you can see they're pressing buttons. He's trying to find a way to get this stock out of here, trying to even things up as best as possible. And I feel like you're just being a bit too aggressive here, because look, now Plume's getting some decent counter strikes. Nothing super crazy, but still getting that extra credit. That's definitely not something you want to be giving up.
Yeah, and Keith's got to be very worried about that too, because that's what was giving Plume the advantage in the previous games as well, and allowing him to win those games. So if you're Keith, you got to go and get this knockout as best as you can. But there we go, that recovery does go ahead and come in to make that knockout option happen. But I mean, he's having a rough time getting these final, like these stock knockout options on Plume, and Plume's taking full advantage of that.
Right, there we go.
Okay.
Just kind of taking their time here, especially Keith. I feel like Keith does need to dial it back a little bit, but maybe having these guitars back in hand, just be threatening with it, right? Don't extend any further than you need to, right? Get your combos, get your confirms, and then just kind of reset here. Let the Katars do the work for you. There's no reason to be more aggressive than you really need to. Here we go.
And we're, well, I mean, he's going to be aggressive more than he needs to be. He comes in with that half pipe there. It's into a weapon throw knockout option on the Plume. And that's the way to go in and get your advantage back. Just go in with these guitar combos, read that dodge from Plume, and you know, have the stress on Plume to the point where he has that option that he took, and he took a real big advantage of that.
No, he definitely did a fantastic job, and really utilizing these guitars. It looks like he's kind of found his rhythm again. I don't know what it took, or I mean, obviously I know what it took, but like, I guess that's just all he needed. I don't know, just to find his spark again. And he's been doing a really good job of just kind of keeping Plume on the back foot here. Ooh. All right, not quite gonna lose that stock. Does have one more chance, I think, here. Yep.
There we go.
All right, last stock scenario here in game 3, and it is kind of do or don't for Keith. He kind of needs to make this happen.
Yeah, and if Plume goes ahead and wins this game, he wins this set. You know, if you're Keith, you gotta be like, okay, I gotta go ahead and do this damage build up, and then be able to go and get these knockout options as early as possible. And that in exchange from Keith with Plume has already knocked Plume into the orange, but Plume is fighting back a little bit. A lot of back and forth, but Plume is just reading a lot of these dodge frames that Keith's really given, and Keith's being risky a little bit too, even with all the arms. So he's gonna definitely have to be aggressive as much as he can once he picks up those guitars. Oh, okay. If he can though.
Oh, okay, Katars are now back in hand, and this is kind of where Keith's been making his money this set so far, and he just needs to take this one last stock. Plume, you can tell, is definitely playing a little bit reserved, a little more nervous than we've been seeing these past couple of games. But maybe not.
But yeah, Plume's pushing all his aggression, double recovering insider into ground pound. Plume beats Keith to go into the winners finals by beating him 3-1 with the Val. The Val just had so much opportunity for him, Skip.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't him playing nervous or a little bit reserved. It was just him waiting for his shot. And once he got it, that's all he needed. Went crazy with it. 3-1, like you mentioned here. And honestly, getting your first set win against what is honestly been a thorn in the Plume side for so long. Just kind of sticking it to Keith here. Yeah.
Dude, and I have to bring this up too. I mean, Keith was just dodging very quickly. If you go back through his replays, he was using his dodge options, and that is where Le Plume was taking these advantages, right? So as soon as Le Plume would use these dodges, he knew that Keith didn't have any more options to really approach him with, and he really maximized on that. Even that final stock knockout, I saw that, and he just went off with it and took the games. And if you're Keith, he's going to be coming back definitely in the elimination side here against whoever he has to face. But that's a big matchup there that Le Plume has taken, and that's just what I was talking about at the beginning of the set. You know, I was talking about there being a couple months difference between Ymir and now, for there to be a lot of gameplay change for a lot of these players, and we're seeing it from Le Plume.
Yep. Again, obviously something changed for sure, because I mean, getting your first set win when you were what, 7-0, and not even just a 7-0, like the games were 19-2. Like you took more games in this set than you have in your lifetime against this guy. Yeah. Like that's a crazy stat to look at. That's so insane to me. And again, ends up getting your first set win too. So yeah, Plume's definitely on their way up. I mean, definitely playing good, feeling good. I mean, they're gonna have their hands full going against Himwe here. So we'll see how that plays out. And Himwe looks like I mean, I'm seeing them on my screen right now. They are locked and loaded. They look like they're literally on fire.
Yeah, and Himwe's that matchup for Southeast Asia outside of Keith, right? So the Plum is having to go through like the Guardians of Southeast Asia events, right? They beat Keith 3-1, and now they have to go against Himwe, and Himwe just beat Tiger, if I don't recall, 3-0. So Himwe's got that crazy matchup here going into it, and this is gonna be cool. 'Cause I mean, when it comes down to Himwe, I mean, Himwe's PR won for a reason. They won the trial of Ymir, and we might be saying that Fate come out as well. But even when it comes down to this matchup, it's very similar to Keith, right? Mm-hmm. When the Plume is lost, it's 5-1 against Himwe. Like Himwe's up 5-1 matches over Le Plume, and I mean, this is an idea that, you know, Le Plume's going on a rampage. you know, but is Himwe going to give the options to the Plume like Keith did with these dodge options? And is he going to play similarly? Because, I mean, Scythe and Orb with Fate, we might see a little bit later, but we're going into map striking. And I wonder if we're going to see Apocalypse again.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not Apocalypse, maybe Demon Island. That's just one of your two options. Oh, Fortress of Lions too. I can't forget about that. That is pretty much either Apocalypse or Fortress of Lions. The entire last time I was casting Brawlhalla, it was just Apocalypse or Fortress of Lions. There's no in between. Oh, there we go, Demon Island. That's the third most common option I've been seeing lately. Daring today, are we?
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to Demon Island, and Himwe's on something I love seeing, which is the Taros, right? And you know, the neutral signatures, the options with Taros, especially with how low this ceiling is, we might see some really cool knockouts here.
Yeah. All right. And we're gonna see how this plays out here, because here's the thing that is very interesting to me, right? Is the fact that you're going against number 2, right, into number 1 here, right? And you had maybe a couple minutes break. So Plume is like, they're probably riding that high, right? They're you know, the adrenaline's probably pumping, and sometimes when you get into these scenarios, the adrenaline, you can tell, runs out on that player, and you can see it all kind of fall apart. So hopefully, I'm not saying I want that to happen, right? I'm really hoping that Plume can take that momentum from the last set and keep it going here, because going from an upset at number 2 to number 1, that's absolutely crazy to think about.
Well, he's also changing he's got to change his playstyle almost completely, right? Because Himwe is very much a range player, and you're seeing that with how he's playing with his hammer. He's kind of letting Plume be aggressive against him, and Himwe's getting a lot of these options, including these stomp options. These stomp cider comes out of Himwe as well to go and get that knockout, but the range of that hammer is significant, and the range of the axe is significant as well. And you know, you're going from aggressive playstyle to that semi, not passive, but more so like passive aggressive playstyle, and he's got to adjust to that.
Oh, whoa, okay. That was certainly a call out. Gonna have to recover to the other side of the stage here, but man, just throwing that option out just to be like, hey, I've got you red, like I've got you figured out so far. That's a huge message to send this early into the set. That could definitely be a demotivator for Plume, who again was already just feeling so good. If you could rip that energy away from him, just kind of rip that mentality, that does so much for the later stages of this set.
Oh, and Plume's kind of using these weapon throws to kind of catch Himwe and put him on the back burner a little bit too. But I think that actually hindered him a little bit, because that's where Himwe's been doing very well. He's kind of making Himwe stay back a little bit, but looks like Plume's able to counter that with that gauntlet recovery, knocking off the ceiling of this map. And even with the ceiling being so high, he was able to go get that knockout option. But I mean, Plume's starting to be a lot more aggressive than we've seen him so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need. If that's what's working for you, keep doing it. I mean, this sword has been putting in a lot of work for Plume all day so far. So, hey, keep it going, and Himwe gets that second stock out of here.
Yeah, Himwe's, you know, axe ground pound, or ground pound, down signature, has a lot of range, has a lot of force with it. And we've been seeing him just use the axe very, very well. These neutralers have been landing, these dare options he just landed as well. But he's kind of trying to outspace Plume. He's trying to get those you know, those recovery frame options on the Plume, and as soon as he finds that option, he's been punishing it very well. And there's the option for Himwe. The axe down signature lands, and the stomp cider comes out. Himwe takes game number 1, but he's just keeping that range between him and Plume. Plume's being aggressive, but once those recovery frames come out, Himwe's punishing them very, very well.
Little dash dancing that he's doing in between like combos and hits, and just dashing back and forth, like just spinning around, and it's like that's a flex 100%. I think Himwe is so comfortable in this matchup right now, and I think it's definitely being showcased through his gameplay. Probably just not having to deal with Keith is already probably like a huge burden off the shoulders. Yeah, I don't know about this one, man. I'd love to see Plume make another upset. The underdog story is always fantastic. And as you can see, swapping right to the Hattori now. I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, I can understand it maybe from Plume's side too, because it's got that spear, it's got that range now. You know, we didn't see that range going into the first game because Keith. Oh, that was almost a bad option there by Plume, but. You know, we didn't really see it a whole lot in Keith's matchup because Keith was being too aggressive to the point where Plume couldn't really play that sword and that spear. But now we're seeing Himwe's kind of doing some, you know, he's going back and forth with Plume. Plume's doing a lot better compared to the first game. But I mean, will Plume have to pull out that aggressive playstyle that maybe other players have played? Maybe like Keith's playstyle. I don't know, but. Right now, Plume's got that sword. He's trying to counter that Stomp Sider because that Stomp Sider is deadly with Hammer. And there you go, comes out again.
Yeah, I mean, stops there is just something. I feel like, I feel like it's just something that's been missing lately, and you know, it's nice to see it come back. You know, like, I am a Hammer lover. I love this weapon. I think it's just so great. But yeah, hey, actually, great stuff from the Plume. They're actually able to clean up that first stock and kind of answer back too. I feel like that's definitely something we needed to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to challenge Himwe's aggressiveness a little bit. But as I say that, they get a little bit aggressive here, launching Plume into the yellow. And you're seeing Plume kind of trying to use that spear to take the advantage a little bit. Now that he got the dodge read, nice job. But oh, Himwe's grab out misses it there, and the weapon throw lands, and Himwe is down to the final stock. He got too risky against Plume.
That is costly, and that is the type of play that, like, if you give that to your opponent and they take advantage of it, like, any sort of doubt that was in their mind is instantly erased. Because look, now you just gave Plume a really good lead here, and yeah, you are playing Taros. Like, you should be able to, like, you know, after like 3 or 4 hits, be able to even this up fairly quickly. But like, that's just so much to give for just one small mistake.
Yeah, and ooh, nice recovery comes in. There we go. But you're seeing kind of Himwe trying to go to the axe a little bit, but he's heavily relying on that hammer because he's been getting the knockout options with it. And there you go, the Stomp Sider lands, and Plume's down to that final stock, but Himwe's so low on that final stock. It might be Plume's game just based off how low he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Himwe, you know, if they were just feeling like flexing a little bit before, they definitely need to start playing for real now. Because unlike last set, right, where Plume had never taken a set off Keith, has taken a set from Himwe. So gonna need to dial in here a little bit, Himwe, because right now Plume is playing really good and is looking to knock number 1 out or down after knocking number 2 down. So I mean, this could be a very strange grand finals here, where we see 1 and 2 play to get to grand finals.
Yeah, Plume's trying to finalize himself as a pillar for Southeast Asia with these matches. I mean, beating Keith and now going into Himwe, taking the game off of Himwe. But also Himwe also went for some really like risky options, and I think he knew that. And I think he probably won't make that same mistake like intentionally going into this next game. But the range from Plume's coming out, but it's not been enough because Himwe's already got Plume in the red. These neutral airs are just landing, and Plume's not really rebuttaling against them.
I mean, Plume's just gotta find their footing here. It's kind of like the way it's going right now is just the same way I feel like game 2 went, right? It started off with Himwe just kind of, you know, having that strong start, you know, utilizing the Taros to just kind of, you know, put down a lot of pressure here. And then Plume will, you know, they'll get his hits back, you know, and he'll start to find his way through this. But it might not even happen because Himwe's just off to a really hot start here and looks like does not want to let up on the pressure at all.
Oh gosh, and you're seeing them just trying to punish each other on that exchange not too long ago as well. But the dash dancing from Himwe's definitely landing against Plume and catching him off guard, and the movement of Himwe's actually changing a little bit too. You know, you're seeing them do dash dancing a little bit, and then you'll see them be completely aggressive and can change their playstyle a tad bit. And look at the dash dancing from Himwe and just controlling Plume in this game.
Yeah, I feel like there's is kind of getting back to what he was doing in that first game here, right? Yeah, he's dominating, and then he's kind of letting you know that, hey, I am whooping you right now. Just trying to, again, get into that mental there. Try to make Plum, feel a little bit frustrated, because when you're frustrated, you're and prone to make more mistakes here. And we get a 3-stock here as a response to dropping a game. Yeah, Himwe is not phased in the slightest.
Well, and that's what we were talking about too. I mean, you brought up a good point as well, where it was like, he's playing aggressive, and I think realistically, Plume was just punishing that aggressiveness, and you brought up where Himwe's got to change. He's got to clock back in from being more so, okay, I'm just gonna play around a little bit, and I think he changed that going to the next game, show what he was made of, and I mean, they're making Plume swap to a completely different character right now.
Yeah, the one that we haven't seen yet, but you know what? The last time he swapped to a different character, he ended up pulling out a W in a game, so I'm not gonna knock Plum on this one, or Plume, excuse me. I'm gonna wait to see, how they approach this game here. However, I have seen more often than not, when someone switches to a character we just have not seen yet, or like they're really trying to mix something up, it's pretty much an act of desperation to just try and find something, and it doesn't work out. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying what I've noticed.
Well, and also it's an opportunity for Plume, right? Because most of the players that he's facing won't have a lot of experience facing Plume on that character in tournament 2. So, it might change that style enough for Plume to say, hey, I'm going to take that advantage. And so far, that momentum from Plume has been doing decent. But as I say that, Himwe's axe starts to come out, and his dash dancing is starting to work out for him a little bit more.
Okay.
Stop sider again.
Gonna clean it up here. Tried to look for the stop Sarah probably once more. Still gets to Sarah anyway. But yeah, definitely trying to clean this one up as fast as possible. You don't want to let this go any longer than it really needs to. And that's not gonna be enough here. Weapon toss maybe? Nope.
I don't know, but we're getting close. Neutral light comes in from Himwe, launches Plume off that ledge. Cider comes in, and Plume is down to that second stock already, and Himwe's dash dancing his troll in the air is what's getting him that.
Ooh. Definitely a little bit testy here. There we go. Okay, just gets a couple of solid hits, but yeah, Plume's definitely looking a little bit lost. I mean, even having the spear, which we saw put in some pretty decent work, right? Because of the length or the reach that it has, it usually is able to get some pokes in here, but the way that Himwe's just controlling this space and then finding these right options and right times to just start landing these hits. Oh goodness, just dodge that one right into the sig. Ugh.
Yeah, and Plume is playing weapons that he hasn't been doing great with too. I mean, they're getting punched by Himwe on that second game, but overall, sword has been the main option for him. You've had gauntlets in the past that's worked against Keith, and now you have him playing spear and axe, which is a completely different play style. I mean, they are able to go and get that first stock, but I mean, it's a completely different way he's got to play against Himwe. Adjusting to Himwe's play style, adjusting to the weapons he's got to play as well, and Himwe is just punishing it as well, and already going unarmed and willing to be that risky against Plume. And I mean, the spear comes back a little bit, but is it enough?
I mean, I don't think it will be. I'm gonna be real. I think it's just a matter of just getting this cleaned up here. Yeah, there it is. Himwe, definitely flexing a little bit here. I think definitely being a little bit of a showboat, and I'm with it. It definitely does. It sets him up for even later in the bracket too, right? Should Bloom find their way back into Grands, is already gonna have this last set in that mental, right? And that's just gonna allow Himwe to just be that much more dominant, I guess.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, congrats to Himwe on getting into the grand finals of this event 3-1. And I mean, that playstyle difference though for Himwe, I mean, for LePlume to really adjust to, it was really difficult for LePlume, but overall, you were right regarding the Bryn pick from LePlume, which was, the final game, playing completely different weapons, going to have to play a completely different play style to really find a way against Himwe. But if LePlume does have that option, which he does have the opportunity possibly later to go back in Grands, he will understand when he's got a lot better understanding against how Himwe plays going into this event. So we'll definitely have to see what happens going forward. But we got some matches happening in the elimination side right now. I think we are in top 8, and we have a player that I recognize a lot, SKADI'S, playing, and they're going against Serenity in the elimination side. And we have Pungyo and Melson, if I recall, both Meow players going against each other. Or, you got the org show match a little bit going into top 8. But I mean, when it comes down to SKADI'S, though, I mean, SKADI'S has beaten Serenity before in other events as well. I remember pulling that up before broadcast. Actually, SKADI'S got 4th in trial of Ymir, if I recall as well. So that's a big thing for Serenity. If they're able to beat SKADI'S to go against Tiger, that's going to be an amazing match to watch.
Yeah. But before we get anywhere from there, we are actually going to be taking a quick break. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We got more SCA action coming at you in just a little bit. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Southeast Asia action for Trial of Scotty, and if you were not paying attention or not watching before, which is weird if you just weren't paying attention, because then that means that like you're not really watching. We only had 2 matches, but anyway, Plum has had a pretty solid run so far. Got their first set win over Keith the Poo Poo. And then went 3-1 against Himwe, had one really good game, and then Himwe just kind of remembered who they were and was able to pull out that W. But LaPlume now sitting in losers finals here, so honestly, just kind of crazy right now. Just looking at this bracket, as you can see here, we're going to be getting Tiger versus Serenity coming up very soon.
Yeah, Tiger and Serenity, man. Those are 2 players that have been very known in the Southeast Asia scene there, with Serenity being PR10 and Tiger being PR6. And Tiger's one of those players that's been around the game for years and years and years. I mean, since probably 2017, and he's been consistently coming back. He's been doing crazy in events. And now we have, I mean, he was winning a lot of the events between 2020 and 2021. And then now we're getting into 2024, and we're seeing a lot of new names coming in, and Serenity being one of those new names. But I want to see how they overall do, because I mean, a lot of the games have been going to Tiger whenever they faced each other in the past, you know, and the last time they faced, I believe, each other was in November of 2023, where Tiger won that matchup too. So well, we'll see how Serenity's playstyle really goes against Tiger's. Tiger has a vast amount of characters that are known for playing, and Serenity, I mean, has 1 character reported, which would have been the Orion, and we see them locking in that Orion right now.
Yeah, not too surprised to see the Orion come out here. I feel like we've been seeing not a whole lot of Rocket Lance lately. I mean, obviously you're always going to see it in doubles, because I feel like it's just one of those things that you're just, it's kind of like a mainstay. It just does really well, getting the combos, closing out stocks. But in singles, I feel like it's kind of been missing a little bit. So it's kind of interesting to see this come back here. Maybe I've just been missing the games where it's all been played, but me personally, I have not seen Rocket Lance. I feel like I haven't seen Rocket Lance in a while. Anyway, getting right into this first match here, we're going right to Demon Island. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and there's that Rocket Lance coming right back out here. It's got so much range with it too. It shows a lot of its power in the range that it has, and you're seeing it really land by Serenity there into grab panel lands, but Tiger is still able to come back, even almost getting knocked out off that ledge. But you know, Serenity's having the momentum so far, but now going over that spear. Let's see, and Tiger's starting to really approach it too. He's doing very well with that sword against this range.
All right. So far, not too bad. Just trying to jockey for position here as both of the players. Tiger's doing a pretty solid job, getting some strong hits here. Not going to be able to take out that first stock, but definitely got really close to it.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to be using from Tiger as well, which is the sword signature. That one doesn't have a lot of recovery frames on it, so it's a very quick attack, and you're going to be seeing Tiger being able to bounce off of that pretty quickly if it misses. You're seeing Tiger have the center control now. It has that bow. Serenity gets that spear side air against that read against Tiger. You're seeing Tiger, you know what, go off that ledge and try to mess around with some signatures a little bit. Tiger feels very comfortable so far, but Serenity does get that spear recovery to go ahead and take that advantage.
Yeah, Tiger definitely tried some tricky little plays there off the side of the stage. Almost worked out for him, but Serenity was definitely ready for it and was able to recover properly. Now here we go. Yep, wow, okay, I like that actually. Just like get him basically like a no impact landing there. Just to borrow terms from another game, but yeah, that was definitely kind of interesting. But either way, Serenity is going to be able to lose that first stock there. Tiger being able to answer back.
Yeah, and Tiger's relying a lot on that signature for a lot of different. He's been throwing it out a lot, not just for damage, but also for that knockout option. And I think if you're Tiger, I mean, you just got to figure out the damage build-up part now, right? Because the signature's landing, but Serenity's able to land that 4-piece combo just like that on you. Okay, there we go. Serenity comes in with that fantastic double down light into recovery option. And, you know, we're used to seeing that side light down light into recovery option, but not off the ceiling of Demon Island like that.
Mm-hmm. And now it's just about getting back down to the stage. We do see Serenity get down here just briefly. All right, Tiger definitely doing a pretty solid job of keeping this pressure applied. Yep, because some good damage there. Gets him right off stage. What's the follow-up here?
Crown Pound. He's willing to be that risky, and Serenity's going to go and punish him for the double dare with Spear, and Serenity just two-stock Tiger going into this game, and I think Tiger was just too confident when going off those ledges, and Serenity's got these punishes very well.
Yeah, no, you definitely hit it on the head there. Really confident. They were really feeling themselves twice now, actually, I feel like that. And then Serenity was just able to take these stocks. Like, you're definitely got to dial it back here a little bit. I always will appreciate aggression. I love that, right? I love it when players, like, does not matter what's going on. They're like, I'm going to press the button and I'm going to do this thing that's not smart, but it's going to feel good if I hit it. I love that. However, you need to dial it back just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that just came down to, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of aggression tonight. It's been kind of countered. These players are throwing out these attacks that would have hit very much in a couple different frame options, but they're not large enough to really take that advantage. And we're seeing that going into these games as we go into the next game here between Tiger and Serenity. You know, same character again. Tiger's not swapping to another character. He's sticking very confident with that Koji pick. And that signature option as well, he's got to be careful because it does have recovery frame still, and I think Serenity might read those options as well.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely just kind of depends on what adaptations we see going into the second game here. But Serenity definitely did an amazing job. Whoa, just chasing him to the top. That was terrifying.
Yeah, Serenity's kind of realizing that Spear recovery is catching Tiger off guard, and that Spear was actually doing very good against them, but now you have Serenity going over to that Lance. He wants the range a lot more against Tiger. I think that's what's been countering Tiger a lot, is the range of Lance and the range of Spear rather than anything else. And I think Serenity's like, you know what? Lance had the option. It's not working anymore. I'm going to go back to Spear. Tiger's throwing me around a little bit. Let me see what I can do with that Spear while I'm here. But Tiger's coming with that bow neutral air, does not knock off that ceiling, doesn't do it again because of how high ceiling the Demon Island is, and the third time's the charm. I mean, that's the way to go and do it. He had that center control. Serenity was kind of just flailing around in the air, trying to find some type of option to come back to that platform, getting a weapon. But Tiger's definitely changed his style a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something we needed to see too. Just kind of let us know that Tiger's still very much in this. But even while taking that first stock, we see Serenity get back down to the stage and immediately answer back. Now opts to go with the Spear. We're gonna see what type of damage they can try to get going here, try to find a way to even this up. And the way that they've been chasing Tiger up top is really scary for me, because I feel like it's just a matter of time until Serenity finds those hits that they're actually looking for and is able to steal a very quick stock from Tiger.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of movement going back and forth from Serenity. Look, like you're seeing like Serenity, like he's dash dancing a little bit too. He's trying to bait Tiger into these different movement options. That offense neutral signature leads into a dare on the Tiger, and Tiger gets knocked off of that, and Serenity's gonna go ahead and taunt. So you know what? I'm in your head, trying to get into his head more in the mental game, and Tiger's running into weapon throws that was thrown in the air 5 seconds earlier. Serenity might have a mental lead against Tiger.
I would say that Serenity absolutely has a mental lead against Tiger right now. But however, leads can be erased, and we see that Tiger's able to respond back quickly and in kind. Now it's just a matter of just keeping it going here for this last stock scenario. And I mean, Serenity just continues to chase Tiger so up high, just making him use all these resources.
Yeah, and that's a good option for Serenity. If they can confirm more of an opportunity for themselves, that's huge. But he threw that Spear away a little bit, and Tiger's punishing them very hard, launching them into the orange, maybe with a knockout option here or there. But Serenity's getting risky. They're throwing these signatures out that have so many recovery frames that can get punished so quickly, and Tiger is just, you know what, playing the floating game.
Yep. And right now, not looking too bad here. Okay, does get back down to the stage, but another punish coming out for Tiger. Yeah, they are certainly trying to snipe out this last stock. That's not going to be enough to take it. But at the weapon toss into picking up the sword to close it out, and then a taunt back just to, you know, really send a message.
Yeah, which that's a good way of doing it, right? You know, you have Serenity taunt on that second stock knockout, and then you see Tiger come in with that fantastic two-piece in the signature knockout option on the Serenity on that stock, and then it just really kept Serenity in the air, picked up sword, got that sire option. That's a good way to go and counter though. Taunt back with the BCX drums. You know, drum it away as you go into the next game, I guess.
All right, well, here we go. Getting into game 3. So far, we've got a lot of aggressive competition happening all day today, and this match has been no exception. These two are just battling it out, and again, trying to get into each other's heads here. So I feel like neither of them, or like they're both like effectively playing the mental game, and like they're slowly just tilting each other more and more, which means we could see even more aggressive gameplay, or we could see a bunch of sloppiness come out here because they're both trying to make these big statements like we see right there.
Oh, and Serenity comes in with the spear, gets these 2 hits, and leads straight into a dash neutral signature. And Serenity had this neutral control over Tiger. Tiger's been having a rough time to counter Serenity once they have that control. But once he's able to take the control back a little bit, he's been able to do the damage. You know, and we've been seeing them go back and forth a lot, especially these past like 20 seconds or so. But Serenity, when they had that neutral control, when they had that read on Tiger, it's almost like a 0 to death. But Tiger had that read on the Serenity off that ledge, and Cider comes in clutch. But now you're seeing Tiger rely a lot more on a sword than that bow. They're swapping the weapon choices now.
I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, the sword, it's always a tried and true, right? If you know how to play the sword, you're gonna find your combos, you're gonna find your knockouts. It's just, you know, just playing smart. And while we did see that toss into the bow now, now we got Serenity on the offensive end, and of course, as soon as I say something, it swaps right back into Tiger's favor.
I think Serenity, if you're Tiger, you know, the bow has so much more range than that sword. You know, it can reach these downlight options on Serenity's Lance. You're kind of seeing them do these weapon exchanges a lot. Tiger prefers to go against bow against Serenity's Lance. Now you got Serenity with that spear, and this is his opportunity because that is what he's been getting on the Tiger. And Serenity gets an opportunity from Tiger by landing that neutral air. Tiger got too aggressive, allowed for Serenity to come back to that platform with that extra jump that they got from the neutral air.
Oh, there we go, taking out that second stock. Yeah, I mean, right now this seems to be Serenity's game. However, you're in that red. Tiger could certainly find a way to close this out relatively soon. That's a good start here. Can they find a way to close it? No, they don't. We do see Serenity get back to the stage and gets a spear back in hand, racking up some damage.
Yeah, and Tiger just gave Serenity an extra 10 or 15 seconds by not punishing that option not too long ago. And now we're seeing Tiger go into the yellowish orange. And it may have just been all the way down to that point of not punishing Serenity off that ledge. Does go and do it now, though, but now with a half stock disadvantage. And that's going to be huge for Serenity. You're going to see Serenity be a lot more aggressive with that spear against Tiger's bow. Tiger's probably going to want to go over to... Oh! Serenity off the ledge with the neutral signature, reads Tiger's jump and knocks him out to go and take that game there.
That was like twice now. That was like game 1 and game 2, right? Closing it out like that.
Yeah,
left side of Demon Island. Yeah. Ugh.
Gosh, and even like Serenity's been going crazy with these signature sets with Orion. This has so much power and force. We saw the first stock, and now we see the final stock off the ledge at the neutral signature, and that's huge. And even looking at the damage dealt versus taken, I mean, Serenity did 541 damage, while Tiger did only 395. You know, that's a big deal, and those signatures are doing a lot of damage in favor of Serenity.
Yeah. As we get into our game 4 now, I mean, Serenity's going to be looking to try and keep this run going because they've had quite the run so far today, and Tigers is kind of the latest obstacle. And so far, they're looking. Oh yeah, they see mid game. Oh yeah, they are ready. They are trying to close this one out as fast as possible.
Dude, I think it's gonna let Serenity is kind of get into the mental of Tiger. I mean, Tiger's down an entire stock. Serenity's feeling themselves a lot more. That spear has been doing well, but when you pick it up, they pick up the lance. Tiger is just trying to be aggressive against that lance to try to get some, you know, options to go pick up weapons. But Serenity's weapon starving, landing these weapon throws. I mean, Tiger just has no ground to really come back here, and Serenity knows that. Look at them, they're just weapon starving them.
it's like perfect weapon starving too. It's like right on top of the spawn as it happens. it's just honestly, it's just really well played by Serenity's part so far. And yeah, you can tell by the way they're playing right now too. They are feeling it.
Dude, the double weapon throws, he's just going in for, like, you know what? I know I'm getting my weapon back. You know, I know I'm going to be able to get this landing. And Tiger's just having a rough time getting that neutral control from Serenity. Serenity knows that, you know, and I think if you're Tiger, you know, you're going to try to go in for these sire options, down like sire lands, you know, going back to the weapon throw lands though, and Serenity knows that stock's gone. And it's 2 stocks all, but Serenity can't give up their, like, can't be too confident just yet because Tiger is still here on their 2nd stock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that they're playing right now, I feel like they can be that confident because they are certainly. Oh my goodness. The call out on that ground pound like that. Oh my.
Well, and Serenity's reading Tiger loves to punish that ledge, but he jumps into the ground pound. He doesn't go straight into the ground pound. So Serenity's able to get these options on the Tiger. I keep on seeing it. We've been seeing it the past couple games. But these signatures are just launching Tiger into the red. He's taunting. The 3rd one knocks out, and Serenity goes in and beats Tiger with just Orion signatures and final stock. What? Dude, that was just confidence at its best, Skiff.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because that was just craziness, especially the last stock. I mean, Serenity had a stock lead, then he got an off-edge GC neutral signature. He knew Tiger was going to ground pound, and then just got these neutral air in the GC neutrals. Tiger was dodging downward. He was dashing downward, too. And he tried doing it again. That's what he was reading, was to dodge downward. That makes a lot more sense. Oh, but 185 damage taken from Serenity.
Oh, jeez.
562 damage done. And his accuracy was 60% with those signatures. He was just landing them.
I'm still trying to process that last stock.
I don't blame you. And I mean, a lot of that damage was done through Lance. You know, and look how long that stock was for Serenity on that game development graph. Look at how much he held that so well. And Tiger didn't use bow at all, though. Maybe that was the option he needed to take.
Maybe. I just feel like just hitting him would have just been the option in general. But yeah, Serenity was 100% in their bag, in their flow state, whatever you want to call it. Like, they were feeling it, man. He was killing it, bro. Like, that was just so good. Dude, that last stock though, it was the 1, a 2, a 3.
That literally was how it was. I mean, you can't say it wasn't. I mean, look how, like, the timing in between that, it was at least, like, what was it, like less than a minute, if that. It had to have been 30 to 45 seconds. That's all it took. And I mean, I do have to say that Serenity was using that aerial control very well, and Keith was getting countered by it. I mean, Keith. But yeah,
I mean that could be you leaking the script earlier or later. So I mean, we'll definitely see. Because I mean, right now we're kind of waiting on Yumpyo and Melson. The winner of that will be taking on Keith, and then when Keith inevitably gets that W, that's just me being a Keith stan. He could be going against Serenity, and that actually could be like the set of top 8. Like, I'm gonna be real, like that could be gross.
That could be 100%, and that's the elimination semifinals, man. If Serenity is going against this way against Tiger, I mean, Serenity is just so like, as soon as they're able to get an advantage over a player, they're very confident they'll play a different way. And it's cool because that play style from Serenity is always fun to watch. You see them throw these random signatures out. They know they're going to dash downwards, or you know they're going to fast fall a certain way, and Serenity just goes and styles with it. And we've been seeing that from a couple different players tonight. I know Keith was trying to do that a little bit in the first game. I mean, we saw that especially. Then the Plum started doing it. So I love it when we see these mental advantages from other players, because it changes their perspective entirely, and their play styles turn awesome to watch. So
yeah,
but
all right.
But yeah, but with that, I mean, right now, while we're waiting for this matchup to go ahead and come up here, I mean, we have mid-seasons coming up in June. For those of you that do not know, the next LAN happening by Brawlhalla is going to be mid-seasons happening in June. It's going to be at CEO. and it's going to be in Daytona. So for those of you guys that don't know, that will be happening there. Make sure you guys go and sign up. If you guys want to see me or some other fantastic Brawlhalla people, Brawlhalla players, some content creators down there, definitely go ahead and sign up for that event. There's a lot of money on the line for that. So definitely go and sign up. We have people from all across the world coming to that event.
Yep. And if you've never been to like a CEO or just an event that's being run by like TNS, Jabali, just the FGC in general, it is such a treat to go to. Last year, I actually went to Combo Breaker for the first time, and it's one of my favorite events I've ever been to. The vibes there are great from start to finish. We had all sorts of games there, not just fighting games, but plenty of platform fighters as well. Brawlhalla was there too. And it's a lot of fun. It's like, because there's also going to be like a bunch of stuff to do. Like there's going to be some arcades there. I think it's going to be Jabali Land going on. But yeah, it's a good time. The vibes, again, they're good. If you've never been to a LAN in general, go to this one. Go test the water. See how you feel about LANs.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many different communities, fighting game communities, coming together for one like weekish or so, 28th to the 30th, is coming together and enjoying the games that they love. It's a fantastic environment, and definitely show up there. I know I'm going to be there. It's actually going to be my birthday when I'm down there, June 28th. So I know it's going to be a fantastic event to be working there as well. But I mean, mid-seasons is huge. I mean, it's the one of two main LANs going into this year for our open sign up. You got the trials online leading into the Royales, which is in person, but mid-seasons is going to be the event. I know I worked at BCX. I can imagine this is going to be very awesome to watch. I worked at all the LANs, most of the LANs last year, and the environment's completely different than online. And I definitely recommend it. So definitely go and sign up. I'll be there. I know a bunch of other people will be there. It's going to be a good time. It really is. And Brawlhalla being there, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah. How old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 24.
Little baby boy.
Yeah. Well, I'm what they call the Brawlhalla uncle in the North American
They call
scene
you an
there.
uncle?
They call me the uncle. I know. It's unfortunate, but hey, I mean, when it comes down to the Brawlhalla players, I love the North America guys too, just because when we all get together at LAN and stuff like that, it's a totally different environment than online. It's cool. It's a very open environment there, and it's gonna be awesome to kind of be at LAN during my birthday. So it's gonna be cool. Very, very cool.
You're an uncle. I'm like a great grandfather.
Dude, we were talking about that with a couple other people in the scene that are older than me, and I'm like, well, I guess you guys are just ancient then to Brawlhalla players, I guess. But hey, I mean, when it comes down to it, I guess I'm the Brawlhalla dad or uncle now, which is interesting.
Haha. Oh man, but you know what makes me feel good is, even being as old as I am, I'm not the oldest person involved in Brawlhalla. I already know that for a fact. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
doing good.
Hey, it's a cool scene though. I think the older part of Brawlhalla is a fantastic part to be around. It's just, compared to any other games, it's very open. If you look into other scenes and stuff like that, I'm not gonna name scenes, but you could just hop in, have a conversation, enjoy yourself.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's definitely a pretty slick and easy time for a lot of people. It's just as long as you're not socially awkward.
Yeah, that's true.
If you just know how to say hi and how are you and talk about your interests that aren't anything super crazy, it's really easy.
Yeah. Oh, I can understand that.
We are about to get into our set right now. It's going to be Keith taking on Melson. Melson actually just went over Yumpio 3-1 not too long ago. So we're definitely going to see how this one is playing out. And right now, it looks like we're going to be seeing Loki taking on Amethyst. Ooh,
that's cool. Okay, so the Amethyst pick against Loki. We haven't seen a lot of Loki in tournament recently. He's got the guitars, got the scythe. That signature set from Keith might actually do a lot of damage in tournament too. We don't see a lot of it. It's got very unique signatures. It's not similar to any other signatures as much as other signatures are. And it might catch something against Melson, but we also know Keith has that Azoka option as well later down the road with his guitars.
Yep. And now we got Loki in here with some of the craziest SIGs in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Why are they like this?
Dude, and it's funny because the Amethyst is just, I mean, especially has so much damage. You know, it's a crossover for Zal, right? You can have 9 damage Zal, if I recall, right? So it's got a lot of force with it. I do see Melson doing a lot of these jump ground pounds. I think Keith might read them a lot easier because you jump ground pound them a lot. We saw Keith punishing that in the other games they had against the Plum. But we'll have to kind of see what Melson does here. Oh, barely able to come back off the ledge. Keith is not punishing these options that Melson is really giving them. He's just kind of giving them the range a little bit.
I think it's more so just kind of respecting what Melson's capable of and like having the scythe here too. Okay, so there we go. We got that first sec out of the way. But I think Keith is doing a really good job of just staying in that space where he's too far out of reach, but if you extend a little bit, he can get it, right? It's just a matter of just getting to that spot. But right now, I think Keith is playing this phenomenally, regardless of the fact that they lost the first stock.
Oh, yeah, and now we got Melson losing that first stock there. And I mean, Keith's guitars are very powerful, and I think that's what Keith's relying back onto. I think they're wanting to try the scythe a little bit more. The scythe is aggressive, similar to guitars, but has a completely different way of playing to a degree. It's got different options to take advantage of, and I think now we're seeing actually Keith go back to this guitars. He's finding that he can't really approach Melson with that scythe, so he's having to approach with these dare neutral layers, etc. Satellites off the with his platform control. But I think if he gives Melson that neutral control, there's so much damage going to Keith's face right now. That's how I feel. And we're seeing that now a little bit. And Keith with the downlight dare into side air weapons, or GC downlight the ground pound lands, but Melson's still alive off of that.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. I thought that they were absolutely done. They do clean it up here, though. We get Keith on the board here for the second stock. And what started off as a bit of a rough game in terms of stocks for Keith is now definitely in their favor. And they are looking for a way to kind of get these guitars rocking. They got a couple of solid hits, but nothing super crazy right now. And Melson, ooh, got a little aggressive there. Could be trouble.
Yeah, and I think that signature comes out. The down sig has so much potential with it, has so much range with it, and it does go and knock out Keith, but Keith's been using the scythe signature on that second stock that I saw a while back, and that's what I was talking about. The signatures with Loki are catching Melson a little bit off guard. So if you can find those landing options on the Melson, it's amazing. But these dares might just be all he needs. The triple dare in the neutral air lands. Melson gets the neutral air again, and the signature comes out. The weapon throw does, but Melson's still alive.
I'm actually surprised they made it. They're still living here too. That's absolutely crazy. But Keith, you need to close this out. I feel like you're playing with your food a little too much here. Please just end the game, because if Melson ends up winning this, it's not gonna look good for you here. And he's trying, he's throwing out these SIGs.
Yeah, there you go. That neutral air comes in, man. And you're seeing Keith relying a lot on those signatures to knock out, which is what Melson was landing. But Keith's scythe off ledge with the light attacks was fantastic. And I mean, we saw the second stock knockout with the signature. That's why Keith was using it a lot. But you see the dare into a dare into whatever, neutral air. And then you see Melson gets neutral air, gets GC signature again, but Melson doesn't get knocked out off of that, and then has to rely on a neutral air option. I mean, Keith's control with that scythe is pretty cool, but it was coming down to these dashes, these reads that he was getting onto him as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something there for sure at the end. And oh man, the damage differential here too.
Yeah.
You really got to hand it to Melson though. Taking that much more damage, right? Almost 100 more, about 80 more. Yeah. But then going into that last stock scenario, still believable that you could end up taking that. It's a little bit worrisome from Keith's side, just because hey, I'm gonna need you to finish your food just a little more aggressively here. But on the other side of it too is just you got to hand it to Melson just having that survivability going on, and again, actually taking out one of the what you call it, going for the speed stance here. That's what I wanted to say. Yes.
Well, and a good thing, and I think one thing we have to really keep an eye on too, even looking back at the stats, Keith did 71 attacks while Melson did 65 and only had a little bit of a difference, barely a difference, right? With Melson's character, those attacks do so much damage that Keith has to be very careful of not being too aggressive and getting punished. And I think, you know, Melson's just having a rough time punishing right now. We're kind of seeing that with these recoveries, these side air options Keith is trying to take. That dare option does go ahead and come in. The GC downlight and the grab out lands. Melson's still alive, but that dare comes in. But Keith's sight he has to be very careful because those light attack options don't have a lot of force with them. And we've been seeing that. There we go. Melson unable to come back. He's pushing that aggressiveness off ledge, but I mean, he's got to be careful. I mean, Keith has got to land a string to be able to knock out Melson with that sight.
Yeah, I mean, and this is just kind of like what I feel like we've been seeing from just why Keith is on this pick right now. It's like I'm seeing the vision. It's like once he's able to kind of get Melson off stage, it's just kind of wash, rinse, repeat. It's just kind of an execution test for him, right? Can he just find that hit? Can he put him right back out there? Just make him like waste some resources slowly, and it is working. But so far, it's just the execution part. Like after the first 3 or 4, it's just Melson finds a way back anyway, and then just gets a lot of damage on the board.
I think Keith has to do a lot more strategic analyzing against Melson rather than Melson has to do against Keith, just because he's playing that scythe and those guitars. You know, he's got to land a lot more attacks to be able to knock out with light attacks, for example, unless he's able to land those signature sets. But I don't think he's very well diverse in those signature sets as much as he could be, you know, and I think that's why Keith's having to rely on these neutral air knockout options and stuff like that. And we're kind of seeing now Melson's punishing Keith off that ledge. You know, they're both in the orange. We're seeing so many attacks coming from Keith, and Melson is only doing like one or two attacks. And I don't know, this might be an issue for Keith, but that dare does go ahead and come in. Oh, they're both off ledge. Side comes in from Melson. Oh, nice dare from Keith. Oh, but he tries to do a down signature, and Melson punishes him for it.
Okay, wait, there we go. Gets that weapon toss. Now you got stage control looking for that down sig to try and close it out. Does get the stock anyway, just not the same way where, you know, what they were looking for.
Well, and Keith is getting very, like, he's got, oh, never mind. Either way, taking the words right out of my mouth there. But, I mean, Keith, even overall, I guess Melson has been getting these dash reads into these recoveries. And Melson has been kind of doing very well of adjusting to that and not really giving those opportunities to Keith. But he does give them when he's a little bit on the edge of his stock there. So I think that's been giving Keith a little bit of an advantage, but now we're seeing a lot of these side light, downlights, and the neutral airs from Keith. And now we're going to see Melson having a rough time against these guitars. He's got to do something. Oh, he knocks himself out off the ledge. That neutral air comes in from Keith. He didn't have any more options outside of one, and Keith knew that, and just got 3.
Yep. I mean, hey, if you're going to hand that up like on a silver platter, Keith's going to take that every single time. But we're seeing Keith switch over to the 4 now, which we're finally seeing get busted out here. And it might be in response to the fact that Melson's bringing out the Asuri. But yeah, this is actually going to be a very interesting game 3 right now. I really want to see Keith just kind of close this out. I feel like those first 2 games, a lot of it was just Keith looking for the cheese. And and when he would get it, he'd be like, all right, cool. But just wasn't really consistent on it.
Yeah, and I think now, you know, we're swapping completely different characters. Now you're seeing Melson going to have to play is playing Azuri, right? The sword and those guitars. I think they're just trying to find a different style to counter Keith. Because right now, Keith's aggressiveness is crazy, but this might be the total option for him because Keith's playing Hammer into Orb. Now, one thing we got to bring up, Orb side light side air is true. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that, and that might be the damage build that Keith needs to go and knock out with those signature options as well. He's got to be careful here.
Let's see how this plays out right now. We got Melson on the board here with the first weapon, getting those guitars out for the Asuri. And he's got a couple onesies, twosies. Nothing super crazy to get started here. Okay, we're just going to start with the SIG. Just kind of get things started on his end with the damage. All right.
Yeah, I think like Keith kind of went to this knowing he's like, okay, I'm up 2 games. You know, I'm up, I'm comfortable. I'm willing to go with that long range to kind of see how it does against Melson in the future, right? Maybe this is not a battle win, but a war win against Melson. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Okay.
But, okay. Neutral light comes in from Melson. Sire light comes in. He's playing aggressive. It's kind of weird seeing Keith being aggressive with that hammer too. I think he's trying to go for these stomp options. Gets that recovery, weapon throw, picks up orb, and I think orb was maybe one of the main. Oh, it was probably hammer was the reason why he picked the character. But I mean, try to play the long range battle. The signature options, they look cool. They look flashy. But Melson's punishing him for it right now. Oh, he missed the option. Oh, okay, he got that one.
Oh. And there we go. We got Melson on the board here first, getting that first stock out of the way. And now it's just kind of playing a little bit of a game of cat and mouse here. I mean, you've got the lead. You don't need to be more aggressive. Just allow Keith to come to you if you feel comfortable, like you're doing right here. He's got to go to the wall. And you got those punishes. Wasn't able to get too much else out of that. Keith does find a way to take the stock right back. And now orb in hand. We're going to see if this orb gameplay kind of comes to fruition here a little bit, which you were just kind of asking about a little while ago.
Yeah, and that orb has so much string potential with it too. It's similar to the string potential that Guitars has as well. Like that aggressiveness, side air and the neutral air option maybe. Side air, there we go. That's the true combo that I was talking about too. That players have been playing like crazy in all regions. And now you're seeing Melson play that sword option very well. GC down like neutral air into a GC side signature. That's a huge option, and that most players wouldn't know about. But that side signature is just so has so much force with it.
Yeah, just the call out there in general as well. Just knowing like how you're gonna drift and then getting that hit that you needed. That was just super clean. And is this gonna be? Oh,
no
they tried.
Melson!
Wow.
He just did that on him. The unarmed air options? Are you kidding me? He played with food. He played with food. I don't know if Skip knows how to recover from this. You know, that it was so quick. It was so out of the blue, you know, and it led into a GC, into a dare option. And then that's all he had to do because Keith didn't have any more options to come back to that ledge. Melson just stayed in the air, got away from Keith's light attack, so he didn't get another jump. And Melson just won that. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, but here we go. I'm going to be bringing out the Ahsoka now here, kind of just answering Asuri with Asuri. So we're going to see how this plays out. Look at that. Same stance and everything, too.
Dude, and well, it's Azuri against Azuri now. We have Ahsoka versus Azuri, right? So it's, I don't know. I mean, they're both on damage stance. They both know that it has to, their guitars are going to have to do a little bit more damage to be able to knock out as well. So we're going in this game number 1 with both players on Azuri, but now we're going to see both aggressive play styles of Keith and their good friend there, Melson. This is going to be cool.
Okay. Dancing around here a little bit. All right, there we go. Just a couple of hits, nothing super crazy. And a small little punish here for Keith.
Oh, nice neutral light recovery. Downlight, neutral air, weapon throw. Lands that weapon throw, by the way. Into a downlight. Tries to get like a jump read recovery, gets the downlight recovery instead. And that downlight recovery is very hard to dodge out of. It is dodgeable, but the recovery just has so much force and momentum with it, which is why he's been using it so much this game.
Now we're just kind of jockeying for position here. Yeah. Both of them got guitars in hand, and Melson, I don't know, like had a pretty good game last game, but now like tapping to Teal with Asuri themselves, it just feels like Keith has just got all the answers needed, and just, you know, staying elusive, getting these nice little combos. Look at these strings.
Yeah, and Melson is trying to out guitar the guitar player, you know, and that's a big deal. He's gonna have to go back to that sword option and try to get this neutral control. He's unable to get any center platform control. Keith's taking it away from him just like that, and really showing, you know, that once Melson's just having a rough time against it, he needs to have that center control to do damage buildup with guitars.
Oh,
look at him go! Keith's going nuts. Dare, like dare.
Oh yeah. I feel like Keith's kind of got this one wrapped up. It's not me trying to just, you know, count Mickelson out. It's just the way that Keith's playing right now. Oh,
Nice.
he would have to throw this so hard to drop this game.
He would, and I mean, he can do it, but Mickelson threw it for himself. Keith with the guitar ground bound and knocks out Mickelson of that final stock with that dominating game with those fantastic guitars. And he showed that he was the true Star Wars mythical crossover guitar legend. That was what he showed. I mean, he just overall controlled the guitars of Mickelson. Mickelson didn't have that neutral control and showed his power. Really did.
Yeah, that was disgusting. Just from start to finish, that final game there. It's just like, I don't know what's going on with those first two games. Keith's just kind of doing his thing, playing Loki, and then like, I don't know, tried bringing out Thor, didn't quite work out, and then Keith is just like, all right, listen, I'm just gonna have to play a Suri as well. We're just gonna get this rocking and just clean that up really quick. 3-0 on that stock on that last game. Yeah, obviously great stuff to Keith. Now you got a big obstacle in your path here. Just kind of going off how we watched Serenity play not too long ago. I think this is gonna be a fire set. We are going to be taking a quick break here. Don't go anywhere because this set I think is going to be absolutely fire. So we'll be right back.
Yep, don't go away. We'll be right back, guys.
You give me a fever and make a believer out of me. I was just a dreamer, but dreams are now my reality. I'm feeling, I'm bleeding, I'm needing for all eternity. My soul is on fire, this burning desire's heavenly. Then you're moving closer, breath upon my shoulder. Boy, I wanna hold ya. Heart is beating double time. I can't wait to make you mine. I just wanna know ya. I tremble when you call my name. The feeling driving me insane. I just can't get you off my brain. You play me like a melody. The sweetest sound is symphony. It's slowly taking over me. I feel the bass line dripping down my spine. I feel it getting closer. Don't want this to be just wanna know ya. I tremble when you call my name, the feeling driving me insane. I just can't get you off my brain. You play me like a melody, the sweetest sounding symphony is slowly taking over me. I feel the bassline dripping down my spine. I feel it getting closer.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the Trial of SKADI'S Southeast Asia, powered by Brawlhalla. I'm AJ, I'm casting with Skiff, and we've had some amazing matches on broadcast so far, from the Plum beating Keith to go into Winners Final to face Himwe, to Himwe going into Grands, and even seeing Serenity beat Tiger and Keith beat Melson. And now we are down into the top, like the top 4, top 3 region of this event, and our next matchup is Keith the Poo Poo and Serenity. And Skip, how you feeling about this matchup, my man?
It's gonna be interesting. So we watched it early. We watched Serenity earlier, and Serenity was just out here making a statement, right? Trying to make a point. And then the other side of it is Keith, who is I feel like his gameplay in general is just a statement. Like it's just like I'm good. I know I'm good. I can beat the best in my region easy. It's just a matter of like just getting it done. Like I'm not in any way is the region like free or anything like that. But it's a position that Keith's very comfortable in. So Serenity kind of coming in here, number 10 on the PR. Definitely got a lot of punching up to do here. That's for sure.
Well, and I think these guys have been showing tonight there's a lot of diversity when it comes down to the top 10, the top 20 PRs in Southeast Asia, and it just keeps on growing more and more, because now we have Serenity going against Keith in the elimination semifinals, and now we have a treat. We have a Serenity's Orion against Keith's Guitars. Oh, and he had an opportunity, but Serenity's didn't take it against Keith.
Yeah, just absolutely silver platter to stock there, and Serenity just wasn't ready. Like, I get it. Like, you see your opponent just do something that's just so out of character, and you're just not ready. Like, if you were ready for it, yeah, you could punish it like crazy. But you're just like, wait, what is going on here? And you just don't react fast enough.
Yeah, and now we're seeing Keith reacting fast enough there with these side air options against Serenity. The side lights, he went for a neutral light, but gets the down light recovery instead. He's not going for last side light down lights. There we go. That landed that time. Gets that recovery option. And now Serenity's got that legendary Lance, which Lance is known for countering guitars. It's just because of how the range difference is. Yeah, but Keith is not really showing that with that guitar side air option.
Hey, listen, that's one thing. If you're going to be a specialist in a weapon, you need to know the ins and outs of every possible matchup with that weapon, right? And I feel like Keith, regardless of the fact that you see Rocket Lance there, he's like, look, I know like what the problem is here. I just have to take my time. You kind of do like this weird like in and out type movement, and like you'll bait out a move eventually, and then you just go ahead for the counter hit, and that's exactly what we just saw there. Now Keith starting to get into the red here a little bit now with the spear. Really kind of putting down some damage here, but now Serenity just looking a little bit sluggish.
Yeah, Serenity is kind of having a rough time taking that momentum over Keith, especially with how aggressive Keith is playing. Serenity is landing some really good opportunities with these air options and these light attacks. But right now Keith's getting all this damage build up. Now swapping over to sword to get these knockout options, because it's one of the better weapons to get these knockout options with. And that side signature comes out, and that side signature with Azuri is very dangerous, and we're seeing that now with Keith now having a 2-stock lead over Serenity.
Oh, okay, they were going for a crazy. Oh no, this is not good. Okay. Woo. All right, for a second there, I thought that Serenity was just not going to come back, because it's like, I don't know what it is about, but guitars, like they get that one opening and then go for like, what is it? Like that. No way.
Oh, no, he's okay. I'm about to say he was got the knockout option on the Serenity with those dares. Tries to do it again. These dare options are countering Serenity. You see down in the dare again. We see a knockout option. There's a side air. And look at him go off the sledge.
Oh, okay, there we go. Not gonna quite take that stock here, but that might be it. And it sure is. I like that. Even in defeat, Serenity is gonna be throwing out taunts there. It does not matter. They're here for a good time, not a long time. And as you can see, it wasn't a long time.
Yeah, and Keith, I mean, I was going off because I saw 5 dare options land. I'm like, there's got to be a knockout opportunity coming out of Keith somewhere. And it just came down to these down late dare options. I mean, and I do got to give credit to Serenity, though. I love their mindset going into this. Whether they win or lose, they're willing to taunt and have some fun. You know, that's not, you don't see that a whole lot. You just see a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of taunting to get into the opponent's mindset. But I like Serenity's mindset with this. This has been pretty cool. And now they're swapping over to a completely different character, which is going to be interesting. They got Axe now. So let's see how the Axe does against Keith. Because, I mean, you know, it's almost like a mid-range, heavy, aggressive weapon.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some pretty quick moves, too, considering how hard it does hit sometimes. But, yeah, we'll definitely see how it plays out right now. I feel like Keith is just not bothered by it at all, just continuing to play their game.
Yeah, and you brought that up where they're just trying to play their game, and it's working so far, and Serenity's kind of having a rough time countering it. You know, they're going back to that spear. I mean, Serenity's been doing very, very well with spear so far tonight. I think they wanted to change their secondary, but so far, Keith just knocked out Serenity and has a half stock lead.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, not gonna be able to take that stock. And on a fresh stock here, Keith is definitely going to be looking to get some sort of extra credit. There we go. There's just a little bit of something, nothing too crazy. Oh, wait, no. Here's a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, for Serenity to swap that secondary with the Axe, the guitars for Keith are just too aggressive for Serenity to really adjust to with this Axe. You know, you're going to have to, Serenity's having to change their playstyle completely to adjust with this Axe, and Keiths are just running them through right now. And there's
there
that
we
down
go.
Signature. Oh my
Another
God.
stock gone.
Dude, and Keith's guitars are like fantastic. And
Yeah,
if you were
something's
to,
been awoken in him after losing that set earlier. Like, he's angry. He wants to get right back up there. What are you
Dude,
taunting for?
I think Serenity's kind of realized, like, yeah, I gotta get into this guy's mental if I want to be able to win it, you know? And that's how Serenity won their last game, right? But Keith's not giving them that. We do see Serenity come in with that signature knockout, but, you know, I see why they're doing it, but I think Keith is not fazed by it at all.
I mean, the fact that you got punished for doing it once already, and then, like, I don't know. I just, like, I get it, but, like, if you're trying to win the mental game and it's just not working, just start playing the regular game. That's just what I'm trying to get at.
Serenity's mindset, from how I'm seeing it, is I think it's almost like hyping themselves up. Because once
Maybe,
they did
yeah.
that, they got aggressive, and they did very well at countering Keith. And now, I mean, Keith's got that mental control back, like we're seeing with the GC downlight in the side air. But either way, Keith does go ahead and take that game to their name. But Serenity, I think, was starting to find the counter to it a little bit with that spear. But that Axe is just not the option for them. It really isn't. So they're back to their Orion.
All right, well, we're going to see, I think, just one more attempt here, kind of speed running through this loser semis. Yeah, I don't know. Something. Serenity's got to do something here. I don't know what it is. Maybe less taunts for one, but if it is just more of a hyping themselves up, all right, yeah, by all means, keep doing it. But right now, yeah, Keith is just way too dominant at the moment. I don't know. I just don't see this like really turning around.
I wonder how Serenity would do with the secondary of Orion, which is Lance. You know, Lance is the direct counter to guitars. You know, it's got the range difference, and I think we know Serenity's good with it. They need to stop going for that ground pound, though, because Keith knows that they're going to ground pound very quickly, and they're just dodge reading it. Now, Serenity can be like, hey, you know, if he expects me to ground pound, can I do an option against his dodge read? That might be a really cool opportunity for him.
Well, part of the problem is that game one, we saw the Lance versus guitars, and honestly, Keith just bodied him. So,
yeah, I agree.
Like, I get that Lance is a counter, but, like, I don't know, just not here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can see what you're getting at 100%. I mean, because what other options does Serenity have? He's going to have to pop off with a spear, which they can, don't get me wrong. They're just having a difficult time doing it unless they have the momentum, and taking the momentum from Keith. Maybe with these platforms, they can do something with it. You know, maybe they can change it around, but so far these platforms are benefiting Keith so far.
Yeah. Oh, throwing out the sig there. Gonna get a quick little punish and then try to get a sig of them.
Whoa! That's the way to knock out Serenity. That's the way. I've never seen that in all my time running events or commentating events. See someone do a neutral signature that far down and knock off the ceiling. And now he's got the momentum, and that's what I was talking about. But he just saved him and knocked himself out. No!
Oh my god. See, I know the tag is Serenity, but they are anything but. Like, there's nothing serene here. It's just absolute chaos from start to finish.
They're not living up to their name, man. We're seeing that now, and oh, jeez. And this, I don't know, this guitar silent down late into down stage. There we go. Nice job for Serenity. He's just trying. He's getting. I think once he's been getting into the mental of Keith, they're just going crazy. But Keith's like, you know what? My mental's back. I'm gonna go and knock you out, and I'm gonna take this set over you, and that's a good way to do it, Keith. He's been able to really adjust his mental very, very well against Serenity. But that off-edge neutral was a crazy. Look how far they are down. Oh
that was literally one of the most insane things I've seen in this game in a hot minute. Like, how far down was he willing to actually go?
Dude, and he's using Serenity's using those new emotes to their advantage too, the ones that came with the battle pass, but Keith just mentally adjusted back. They knew that, you know, if Serenity gets into my mental anymore, then it's game over, because that's what would have happened. They were in their mental for the stock afterwards, but Keith just had so much of a big lead.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's kind of what you said earlier. I don't think it's necessarily getting into Keith's mental. I think it's just hyping himself up.
Yeah.
I think that's literally all it is for Serenity at that point. It's like, I'm hyping myself up, I'm having a good time, and if you get tilted by it, that's a nice little sweet bonus. Yeah. That's definitely a cherry on top. But yeah, Serenity's insane.
Yeah. I mean, we're giving Serenity a lot of credit right now too, even though Keith won. But I do gotta give Serenity credit.
Oh,
and
100%.
I think he needs to find that balance of confidence. You know, what's too far, like being too aggressive, what's going too far with my confidence, and where's that balance? I think once Serenity gets that, they're gonna go crazy into tournament. But right now, we get our next matchup, Skiff.
Because that's the thing, is like with most players, like you can go in calm and collected, but there's a certain type of player that I gravitate towards, and it's the people who embody chaos, right? And they're just absolutely chaotic the entire time that they play, and then they're able to like focus it into being like a calm, collected, and like focused player. And those I think are the most dangerous kinds.
Well, and that reminds me a lot of Snowy in North America too. Snowy's like that too. But we're going to this next game. We got Keith versus Plum, and we got the Val versus the Guitars, and this is a rematch from the winter semifinals there, Skiff.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what type of gameplay Keith is going to be trying to incorporate here. I would like to say that Plum probably still feels confident just going off their set earlier. You got your first set win. You're feeling very good about it. But I feel like the way that Keith's been playing here these last couple sets, Plum's in trouble, I would say.
Yeah, but Plum's been playing a different style that Keith hasn't played in the elimination side, right? Plum is playing like this aggressiveness with sword and gauntlets, and has actually been out prioritizing Keith's aggressiveness, which is rare, you know. I mean, but now we're seeing Keith launch Plum into the red. That down signature comes out, and once you land a down signature, they're almost guaranteed knocked out if they're not red in the stop.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely it's been an interesting game so far, but yeah, just they are going back and forth, right? It's not like Keith's just running over Val or Plum here. But well, right now maybe. But no, Keith is definitely playing with a renewed vigor here that I think is definitely something that Plum needs to be taking note of, because look at this, just all the call outs here so far. The weapon toss, close it out. That's another stock gone. Keith, my goodness.
And it came down to all of Plum's options being used in the beginning of that. Plum used all their options, got punished, and had only one or two options come back to the ledge, and that led to the knockout. But then Plum comes in to try to rebuttal with that ground pound. But is it going to be enough to be able to change the momentum into their favor to win this game? I don't know about that.
We'll definitely see. All right. Well, Okay, there we go. Gets right back down to the ground. Yeah, these Catards have been putting in so much work for Keith so far. And Plume, yeah, just trying to get their footing underneath them.
Oh my gosh, Keith's control with these guitars is going crazy. And this downlight recovery comes in clutch, misses that side opportunity, allowing for Plume to come back. But we're seeing a lot of missed attacks from both sides, and each player is countering each other very well.
Yeah.
Right? So we're seeing Plume produce like Siley options. Keith keeps dash dancing and leading Plume into these different options. We're seeing that now. These neutral air comes in from Keith, misses the side air option. Plume misses the recovery, gets neutral air instead, but that would have been close. That lands, and that signature misses. What, Keith, did you just do?
I'm telling you, man, Keith going through this elimination bracket, going through Melson, going through Serenity, and Plume is just the latest obstacle in the path. And look at that, immediate switch to Hattori here. I'm sorry, it might be too late. Like, you might have come into this just a little too confident or just not as prepared as you should have been, because Keith is here. Keith is ready to play.
Dude, and that's the way to do it. And that recovery went through Plume's signature and bounced him off the bottom of that map. That's a cool way of doing it. I don't think that was his intention. I think it was more so to get back to that ledge, but it landed very, very well. And now they have Plume going back to the Hattori, which is funny to me because didn't Keith in the set they had in winners final or semifinals, I'm sorry, didn't it involve Plume losing on that Hattori?
I'd have to double check. Hang on. Yeah, it was the very first match they played, and then switched to Val and got basically 3 straight games. So beating the Val immediately and forcing him off to the Hattori, I feel like that's a huge statement here. It's a statement to what the set I think is about to unfold for us.
Yeah, it's also, yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's going to set the statement of, okay, Plume's having a rough time against Keith. His style that he was using originally against Keith's not working. And Keith's showing off that guitar grab held very, very well off that ledge. And that pick from Plume might have not been the option. That's what Keith wants. He wants to have that advantage.
Yeah, no, here we go. I feel like Plume is just pressing some buttons at a disadvantage now, just looking for an opening here, and Keith is just eating that up every single time.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, look at Plume, like, look at how they're dodging right now. They're dodging so much. They're dodging early, and I think that's what Keith's been really landing on the Plume. You know, now we got Plume on the spear. The sider does come out. They might be able to get a knockout here with the dare, which they do there, but overall, the dodging from Plume, the dash dancing he's been doing has been too quick to the point where he's been able to like aggress very, very well. It's almost like they're just moving too fast and Keith's really approaching them very well.
All right, there we go. A little bit of extra damage there. All right. Yeah, right now, yeah, Keith just continues to put this pressure down. All right, Plume's getting some hits, but I think a lot of it just comes down to when Keith is just overextending a little too much, right? Just trying to add on a little bit extra, but he doesn't need to. Oh my goodness, the pressure he was putting out on that off stage was just insurmountable. Plume ended up plummeting to their death.
Yeah, Plume plummeting has definitely happened. Oh, that was close, but it was a little bit too far to the right. And you're seeing Plume is like, okay, I'm going to try to, he has some sort of read against Keith a little bit, but the dare weapon throw comes in. That weapon throw is also what caught Keith off guard, if I remember, in the winter semifinals. So if you're Plume, you know, those weapon throws are vital against Keith. I didn't even think about it. He's been using a lot of weapon throws this past couple games. Maybe that might be the option he might need to do. That GC downlight recovery lands onto Keith, and now it's one stock all. That sword or spear? Spear is going to be the option for Plume.
I think Spear's not a bad play here because I feel like something's kind of changed in Plume's kind of approach at this point. Whoa, okay, Keith, you're getting a little too crazy here. You got to dial it in, buddy, because I think Plume is really just starting to find the rhythm right now, and I think that's something that Keith needs to take note of.
Well, I think Plume gets the rhythm with Hattori and then goes with Val next game and just goes crazy. I think that's what originally happened in the first set, but now Plume, he needs to win this game if they want to go ahead and win the set. I don't see a world unless Plume pops off insanely against Keith where they reverse 3-0 Keith in set or games here. Ult Sider comes in. It's close. Oh, he's going off with it. Oh, what did you do? Keith comes in with the neutral air and punishes Plume's aggressiveness off the ledge. Oh no!
That hurts.
That hurts so
That
much.
hurts so much, AJ. Like,
Oh,
oh, geez. Like,
my condolences go out.
you had that game locked. You were playing
did.
so well at the end there.
Dude.
Oh,
I feel bad, man. We're gonna feel a pit in our hearts going to the rest of the set, you know. But Plum now still in the Hattori. That aggressiveness that they had, it definitely worked out. But now, you know, I don't know if Plum's gonna have the same confidence as he did the last game that he needs.
I mean, it's just one of those moments where you just got to be like, all right, I made a bad play. It happens. I got to just keep doing my thing.
Oh, he missed. Plum had an opportunity off that ledge too, but he did the dare too quick. He's attacking too quick and moving too quick, I think.
Yeah.
He's just doing a double dare. There we go. That lands. Okay. But see, if Plum can get the dodge, like if he can read the dodge dancing that he's been throwing out to him, that might be a really good opportunity for them. And I think now Keith's been doing it a certain way where Plum is really reading a downlight recovery lands, swaps back over to the sword weapon starving Keith. I think that's the vital part of that. And now they're both on sword. Keith gets the double neutral air, and a Cider comes out. Oh,
Okay, there we go. Yep, gets that first stock out of there. And you know, that's what I want to see from Plum. Because he made a huge mistake at the end of that last game, right? Crazy mistake, possibly set throwing. And you immediately come into this next game, taking that first stock, and just playing like it never even happened. And that's what you need to do as a player in those scenarios sometimes.
yeah, he's kind of got to keep this like a step back and really going for what's confirmed and what's not. Especially at this final stocks, everything is down to the wire. And I think now we're seeing Plum have this center neutral control, and it's just controlling Keith. Can he land a recovery though? He doesn't. And Keith might get this stock knockout on the Plum because of it. He does. It all comes down to, I remember there was a quote from Bazon. It's like when you give your opponent like an opportunity to come back, there's like a 30-second timer that you guys basically click in your brain that they gave themselves as an advantage from that. You know, and I think now we're kind of seeing Plum kind of feel a little bit of it, but a downlight recovery does go ahead and land. He does go ahead and take the opportunity that time, and Keith will go down into that final stock.
All right, now this is just kind of that do or don't moment here for Plum. It's just a matter of just, okay, right now you've been doing a fantastic job with the spear the entire game so far. Really kind of making Keith work for these hits, like just getting that going right there. Okay, but does get the stock right back, and now all of a sudden this is a much more even game than it was just a moment ago.
Yeah, and now we're seeing Keith bring it around a little bit. His aggressiveness is working out well, and Plum is throwing out these attacks, but they're whiffing, and Keith's really punishing on that. What Plum was doing was landing a lot of their attacks on the Keith, and that was what was getting them that. Nice little dodge read from Keith, gets the two-piece. Oh, Plum was expecting to pick up the other weapon. He's not feeling comfortable with that spear. Oh, does go ahead and get that recovery though. He's just weapon throwing a lot. Look at him. It's catching Keith off guard. It's working.
It is working a little bit here, but also it's just like it's a mix between that and just hitting these dares. Just kind of works out for him. But they're double recovery, and that is going to be able to get him that game underneath his belt, which is definitely something he needed. Just kind of let us all know, hey, I'm still in this. I'm not out quite yet.
Yeah, and it came down to, I really think it came down to those attacks landing. You know, each attack that you miss, it gives the opponent this huge opportunity to punish you and go into combos, go into different attacks, even knockout options. So we're going to Apocalypse. We're going into this next game. And I think Plum is going to have to really work on focusing on not whiffing those attacks as much as he possibly can. Make sure all attacks he's throwing out actually land. But we're going next game on Apocalypse. And I know this is a map that we've been seeing a lot of, Skip.
Yeah, it's definitely been very present lately, that's for sure. And oh my goodness, Shades just back to 2 games ago where Plum goes for that ground pound off stage and just completely misses Keith.
Yeah, and now I think, yeah, Plum's gonna go back to spear. I was about to say, if he stays on that sword, that would be an interesting option. Oh, the dodge read from Keith, nice job. Yeah,
I think just a little bit more damage on Plum probably would have got that stock out of the way too. That's like Plum's gone for that like 3 or 4 times now. So like they're definitely scouting something, and I guess it was a matter of time for Keith to actually get a punish for himself.
Well, and I think if Plum is able to do it next time a little bit lower, because that attack lands so high that it might just be the option for him, right? I think also Plum's trying to consider the jump over the signature option, etc. But it just lands so high that he might have to land it a little bit lower and it'll work. But right now, ever since he missed that opportunity, Keith's been knocking Plum into the red, has a knockout opportunity here with guitars, misses the signature, and now we're just seeing them go back and forth of who's going to knock out who. It's not really anyone's favor. Right now it's in Keith because he's now has platform control.
I think what it really comes down to is, well, there we go, gets that first stock out of there. And like part of the problem I'm seeing from Keith is that when he's trying to, like he's really trying to close out a stock, he starts throwing out SIGs when like he's trying to call something out. It's just like he misses so much because of it.
No, I can understand that completely. I mean, he's missing out on a bunch of different opportunities, and now though, okay, GC down like ground pound lands. He's going unarmed a little bit though. He's going to go back to sword v sword. I mean, Keith was doing a lot of the winning on those battles a while back. But GC downlight cider lands, and Keith goes down to that second stock. We're gonna see Plum kind of figure out what they're gonna do for damage buildup. That spear has been doing a lot for damage buildup, including those neutral airs. It just has so much good like hitbox range.
Right. Okay, there we go. Trying to find some hits here. Keith definitely needs to maintain this lead here, because I feel like as soon as you let Plum kind of get going, we could very well see reverse 3-0. Like he's got to find a way to stop this momentum shift like very quickly. All right, goes to that weapon toss to the sword. Not going to get the hit that he needs. Man, dude, this spear has been doing so much work for Plum.
Yeah, and Keith is whiffing attacks now. I'm seeing that a lot. Like he's going for these signatures that have a lot of recovery frames, and he's whiffing these attacks, and Plum's punishing them very well. Nice recovery coming in. Misses second recovery. Keith with the counter neutral air.
Oh, okay, wow. Ends up getting that sword in the process too. Oh, no guitars, unarmed. All right, does maintain stage control here though.
Nice there. Missed the side air option, and then Keith does go ahead and get that punish with the backward side air. But I think that platform kind of threw Plum in a little bit of a loop there. You're like, okay, well, I don't want to land on this platform. I don't want to get punished that way, but he still got knocked out. But look at this hard gameplay from Keith.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Yep. I would say that was a nice little opening there from Keith too, calling out that air dodge and just kind of keeping that combo going. It didn't end up getting too much more outside. That sword just landed on him just barely. Oh my.
Just barely. But I'm just look at Plum though. He's really reading on Keith's misses. Look at how his whole style is around that right now. When he's been landing the attacks, it's been all on options Keith has been missing. If Keith can just hold his options against Plum, I think he wins this game. But if he keeps on getting stressed out and he keeps on dodging early, that might be an issue. Because look how he's playing. He's getting these recoveries in. Plum has not been able to do a lot outside of that one attack there, because he's not really missing a lot of these attack options. There you go.
Oh no,
Missed
swinging the
option,
wrong way.
gets punished. Recovery, neutral air. There we go. There, it's so close, and he leads into a signature. That's exactly what I was talking about. Plum bringing this into a game number 5 here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely some crazy stuff, and a lot of that just kind of came down to just like controlling the pace and then just letting Keith throw out some moves, like you kind of mentioned before, and just getting those punishes out there, man. Like now we're in a game 5 scenario here, and Keith has definitely got to be feeling the pressure, going up 2-0 initially, and now I mean Plum is just answering back. And looking like they might end up just getting right the grand finals here. So I don't know. This is just not looking good.
This is probably one of the best matches we're going to have of the event. This game number 5 situation. Who's going to take it? I mean, we've seen Plum have this center control. He's having a rough time landing a certain attacks once he doesn't have a certain style or certain control over Plum. And Plum is just reading it left, right, and center. And Plum's not missing a lot of the reads. Like he's not missing a lot of the opportunities on Keith at all.
All right. Flexing a little bit of that movement here a little bit.
Yeah,
You can definitely tell, I feel like Keith's starting to take a somewhat of a more passive approach, just trying to allow Plum to just get aggressive.
Yeah, Keith's getting a little bit aggressive with these ground pounds, but that double side air by Plum does go and land on Keith. Keith is able to touch. Oh, misses that down signature. Plum now getting risky. And there's that opportunity I was talking about later that he allowed him to come back to the ledge. The extra 30 seconds-ish is going to come and play. And we're seeing Keith just kind of dash dance a lot, and Plum's just trying to bait him into different things. And look at it, like he's trying to bait him into different things. And once he misses that dare option, Keith goes for the punish. Oh, slider from Keith. Oh, nice neutral air counting Keith's ground pound. A lot of back and forth though. There's nothing like too crazy here that's like in one favor or another.
Oh no, they're both kind of just taking their time, and there we go. We see that first stock taken out here, and yeah, 100%, he's got to be feeling this pressure right now. It's almost insurmountable at this point. Like Plum has got so much momentum in their back pocket, just on the cusp of a reverse 3-0, which honestly I did not think we were going to be seeing here the way that Keith's been playing in this elimination side.
I think it came down to that Hattori pick from Plum. I didn't expect it to work. I really didn't. And as soon as he got that change in his play style and how he was approaching and how he was landing all these different attacks, it was working. But Plum lands that ground pound and lands on the platform or on the map there, and Keith just gets the punish because Plum had recovery frames. You know, most people will ground pound and just let go of it right before it lands on the platform, but I think he just let it go too far.
Okay. Nope. There we go. Gets that little combo star, gets a 3-piece to kind of get started here, and just chasing him down. Looks like he's kind of found his opening. Like once he knows he has Plum on the back foot, he just starts chasing him down relentlessly. Look at this damage coming out.
Yeah, Plum is attacking, like when he's in these combos, he's stressed. So his mental, it looks like he's mentally trying to just get some sort of counter, but the counters that he's throwing out weren't working at the time. But now with both players on sword, you know, they're very, very close in like health. That sword option might give Plum the advantage, but your guitars were what was messing with Plum, and Keith's having to rely a lot on sword, but picks up guitars, gets the ground pound, gets the side air, and now has the lead.
There we go. And that's how you know, like, you know, the great players from the good players is the great players know how to rise to the occasion when they're dealing with all that pressure. And right now, Keith maintaining a decent lead here. You got to try and, you know, I need him to squeak this one out just a little bit longer, try to get some extra credit as best as he can. There we go. That's a little bit of something.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit now. Neutral light recovery comes in. Plum punished that very well against Keith, but Keith gets GC's Sun signatured to get knocked out. And that's one of those attacks where you have to make sure you land it. And they did. It's one stock all. You're seeing Keith now having to approach from the air and trying to be like this aerial aggressive style player, and so Plum's thrown off. Now we got Plum in the orange. Keith's starting to pop off. Look at him go.
Yeah, Keith's looking for it, man. That's a lot of damage getting going on here too, and it's like all of a sudden it's like he just knows what he's able to get away with. And as we can see, finally landing that side sig that has just eluded him so long, and Plum just gonna go flying to the left side there, and Keith finds a way to close it out without letting this get too far ahead of him. My goodness.
Yeah, and if we go through the replays here, which I believe we are, even in that last stock there from Keith, it came down to Plum using all of his options, and Keith realizing that, right? He's able to kind of pick up that, hey, you know, you don't have these options that you could be using against me. And once Plum's in that combo, he attacks or he dodges instantly. And Keith was reading that very well, was able to adjust and get these combos that most players are astounded by, because it's this back right and center with those guitars. And I mean, these side options were very, very clean. And now we have Keith going into grand finals against Himwe. And but I do gotta give props though. Plum did very, very well tonight.
Oh yeah, no, definitely really, really solid stuff. I mean, considering the fact that let me see here. Plum is what, number 8, and you're finishing 3rd here. Yeah. And really, it's the people who eliminated you were number 1 and 2. So honestly, like, how bad of a night was this? Let's be real here. But listen, before we get to grand finals, we do have to take one more break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the trial of SKADI'S representing Southeast Asia, powered by Brawlhalla. I'm AJ, I'm casting with Skiff, and we are now into the grand finals of this event between Himwe and Keith. And Skip, we've been watching these matches go crazy so far, from Himwe going crazy on the winner's side to Keith going crazy in the elimination side.
Yeah, it's been something different, that's for sure. But now we're getting into our grand finals match against the number 1 and the number 2 here. Gotta give another quick shout out to Plum, who started off, I mean, just playing really, really good in this whole top 8. I mean, number 8 right now in Southeast Asia, and now they're sitting in a position where they got eliminated by number 1 and 2. So who knows? Maybe that PR number needs to get bumped up a little bit, but it's also a little bit about consistency. But here we go into a tried but true grand finals matchup here between number 1 and number 2. And now we got Himwe against Keith the Poo Poo. We got the brute strength here from the Taros with the axe and hammer going against Ahsoka with the guitars and the sword, a little bit of that more dexterous gameplay. And we're going to see how this plays out here. Let's get it going.
Absolutely. We're now going into the first game onto Apocalypse, one map that we've been seeing a lot tonight. We have Himwe on that Taros that we've been seeing a lot of them playing, involving that hammer, involving that axe. But that hammer has been a very big gameplay strat for Himwe in his winner side matches. And we've been having Keith on that Ahsoka a lot, playing those guitars and using that aggressiveness. But now we have this aggressiveness play style going against this semi-passive but almost like counterintuitive style play style from Himwe.
Okay, there we go. Yep, doing some pretty solid stuff here.
There we go.
Yeah, see, that's it. That's the thing I keep seeing. We keep seeing that 1-2, and then he tries to extend it another one. Almost like he's mashing or something. I don't know.
He tries to extend on it, and Himwe's reading that option very well. Like the side light and the down light is it's a true combo. But Himwe saying, I'm gonna try to approach you off that ledge. I'm gonna counter, or I'm gonna try to aggress that style of what Keith was doing, which is trying to bring Himwe off that ledge.
Yeah, I mean, listen, falling hammers is one of the reasons why they make you wear a hard hat in construction zones. So that's all I'm saying here. Like, you gotta watch your head here.
Yeah, and I mean, he's gonna definitely need a helmet here as this keeps on happening. I mean, but right now, Keith coming with a downlight recovery on the Himwe. Himwe now with that axe as well, and he's doing pretty well with it. But Keith's aggressive play style is countering Himwe very well, and now Himwe's down into that second stock.
Okay, there we go. You have that hammer coming right back out. Stop in the wrong direction. Unless he was just trying to get that turnaround, see if he was going to extend a little bit more, but...
Dude, that sword combo was just clean from Keith, too. That was a 5-piece combo, launching Himwe in the orange. It didn't do a lot, but I also got to bring this up, too. Himwe's trying to dash or dodge dance against Keith, and Keith has been doing that a lot as well. I think Keith's playstyle, especially with guitars, is going to counter Himwe's dodge dancing, I have a feeling, because we're seeing it happen now. And you're looking at him dodging, like the dash into neutral light lands. But now we have Keith with the sword now, gets the dare option. Himwe has to recover to get back, but gets dared to get ahead and get countered. That was pretty much one of his only options to come back.
Yep. No weapon right now. Of course, the hammer comes out here. Gets that 1, 2, 3, sends him off stage. Now he's looking for a way to try and close out this stock, and should be able to if he can find a stop there. There it is. Closes that one out. And now just a little bit of damage separating these two. He's going to be bringing that axe back out to try and get a little bit of offense going here.
Yes, it's definitely a very well matched up opponents here when it comes down to it being grand finals too. I mean, we're seeing Himwe now in the orange. Now Himwe launches Keith into the orange. A lot of back and forth here. It's going to come down to those combos that each player lands. Himwe's 3-piece lands, but now Keith's got to be careful. He knows he's got a little bit of pressure on him. Swaps guitars, tries to do signatures, but if he can keep away from Himwe's drum sider option, it might be a good opportunity. And Keith's side signature lands, and he takes game number 1 with those those Katars against Himwe's hammer.
It's almost like he's figured out exactly when to be throwing the side sigs out, because I feel like he's been throwing it out so many times today and it's been punished so often. And maybe that's just because of like just the matchup against Plum. Like Plum was just ready for it and like he was just able to get these counter hits. But man, it just felt like he's just throwing these things out. But finally we see one land here. And I think it was like only the one time he's thrown it out too. So maybe he's dialing it back a little bit. Maybe he's just not feeling as desperate. I mean, these two are super familiar with each other anyway. So
yeah, and I think now we're going to see Himwe being able to counter that a lot more because he now has been hit by it. So if you're Keith, you don't want to throw that out as much. But I think he's leaving a couple different attacks, like different options against Himwe to the back burner until a possible reset. You know, they're just doing the same thing over and over until it, you know, until it doesn't work anymore. And now Himwe is kind of going in with his axe 2-piece. But Keith, I mean, these dare downlights have been doing a lot of damage against Himwe so far.
There we go. Yeah, just keep tossing him out. A solid punish move, almost able to take that stock there with the recovery, just not gonna be able to find it quite yet, but just drops it. What are you doing?
It wasn't intentional though. It was based off of how he was moving. Like the way he jumped into a GC downlight, the momentum just wasn't with him, but he still does go and get that knockout though, which is good. But if you're Himwe, you're gonna be like, okay, what's happening? I'm getting aggressed pretty hard right now.
Yeah, very, very much so. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's 2 weapon tosses. Yeah, and you can definitely tell Himwe's just trying to battle his way through here right now, but I think it's just, you know, maybe it's just need a little bit of that warm up going on, right? He kind of, I assume he's been playing, right? But probably waiting to see, watching the set, seeing what's going on. But Keith has just been like battling nonstop for the past hour or so. And as you can see, taking off that second stock there. Ugh.
Dude, he bounced him off the bottom of the map twice. Not just once, but twice. So, you know, Keith's feeling it right now. I think Himwe's just trying to adjust a little bit of these next couple of games because I think he knows he has a reset. You know, I think he knows he has the opportunity if he needs it. But now we're seeing, Keith used some other signatures, including the neutral signature. And Himwe with the backward sider into weapon throw lands on Keith. But Keith's entire stock advantage right now.
Right. Oh, there we go. Some decent play right now. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Unarmed. Yeah. A nice little like 3-piece combo there. And now he's got that sword in hand. He's got that extra reach.
Nice sider coming in as well. And a lot of players don't know unarmed as well as Keith just landed that combo. So that's definitely going to set him into a premise of a certain momentum. And Keith's been riding it so far. Himwe's been trying to counter that momentum a bit, but that ground pound finally lands. And Himwe is out of the final stock. Keith is up 2 games over Himwe in grand finals so far.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, we're probably gonna see a reset here, and as you can see, look at that. Himwe recognizing the situation, probably not wanting to go to a reset at all, and pulling out the fate immediately.
Yeah, that might be an issue for Keith because that's a totally different play style. You know, you got the aggressiveness of Keith. You got Himwe now playing Scythe and Orb. That Orb Silite side air is true. You got Scythe you got to worry about. But at least Keith knows Scythe, and we saw that from earlier Skip when they played Loki. You know, so I don't know. We're on Demon Island though. That bottom of that floor of that map is very low. Let's see what happens.
Yep. And that's the other side of it too, is Fate is also another one of those characters that just has some really good sigs that you can just kind of throw out quite often. So
yeah, and those signatures are very powerful too with Fate. And I think if Himwe could challenge the aggressiveness of Keith, that's like what Plum was at one point, right? That's a huge opportunity for them. But so far, Keith's being pretty decent with that sword, not even swapping to Katars yet. Might have to against this Orb, we'll have to see. But the neutral light comes in. Keith's sword's also really good. I thought the Katars was going to be the main thing they would be pulling out, but that sword is actually doing very well.
Yeah, no, definitely doing a really solid job here. And look at that, just kind of like threading the needle through some of these attacks from Himwe right now.
Nice side.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah, these guys are even when it comes to an event too. And also for those of you that don't know, I mean, if Keith wins this game, it lets them go into the reset since Keith is on the elimination side and Himwe's on the winner side. Himwe went ahead and beat whoever it was on the winner side there, so he has that advantage. So if Keith does go and win, we're going into the reset and they're both going to be on the elimination side now. So Himwe is definitely relying on that a little bit. I think he was just trying to tear us out and see if it would work against Keith. Tried 2 games of it and seeing if he had to go back to old reliable, but so far, I mean, both these players are even.
Yeah, no, it's looking a little bit scary here for Himwe though, because like you might have just given Keith way too much like momentum to just kind of, you know, keep that going those first 2 games.
Oh yeah, silent side air. Yep, that's the
right.
combo that I was talking about though. He's got to be careful of that.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, now you just need to sneeze on Himwe and you can get that stock out of here, so.
That's
You
you.
just gotta sneeze.
That's you. There we go.
There we go. Thank
I
goodness.
sneezed for him. He got it out. All right, there we go. So coach wants to. And I mean, now we got Keith on guitars. Now this is going to be the opportunity he can have against Himwe's orb. I do gotta say though, Himwe's orb might do a little bit against Keith if he can land his attacks here.
I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of getting there. Like, it literally the first stock, like they're even right now, still. But like they've been even this entire game so far. It's definitely like a bit of a weirder pace. Like the Taros obviously can command so much aggression, and you kind of have to get in on them. But with the Fate, you can kind of dial it back here a little bit. You've got that extra range between, you know, the sight and the orb, and you can just play a bit more patient.
Yeah, and right now we're kind of seeing. I mean, Himwe's kind of having a rough time getting his attacks in order there and landing on the Keith. You know, and that's why he's moving around so much. He knows these different attack options are not going to land in his opinion, so he's moving around, trying to adjust. And there's Himwe adjusting, comes in with that orb ground pound, knocking Keith down to that final stock, and Himwe now has that adjustment that he needs to go ahead and win this game.
Ooh.
But does Keith? Oh, that would have landed if it wasn't a dodge. Nice sider.
Yeah, but just keeping up that aggression still, even missing, just chasing them back from one side of the stage to the other. Ooh, what's the play here? All right, nothing super crazy right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of back and forth. All right, we got Keith, what was originally pushing a lot of pressure on Himwe off the ledge. The sider comes in, and Keith has that advantage. And I think that's what Keith needs to start doing. If he can get the damage build up and then push Himwe to the ledges of the map where he's forced into the air to come back, Keith does very, very well in punishing that. But when Himwe has that center control and has that damage build up or knockout opportunity with that orb or with that scythe, I mean, you're going to see him really use it. And now we're seeing Himwe spam a lot of dare options, trying to counter it. Look at him, he's spamming 3 or 4 of them already now. Just trying to find some sort of option because it's a comfortable pick for him. You know, he doesn't have to worry about Keith being too aggressive against that dare option. He can kind of dash back and approach him. And Keith now with these guitars trying to push in a little bit more, but Himwe is respecting Keith a lot to the point where Himwe's been able to counter.
Oh, there we go. Finally just gets onto the stage and gets a hit or two. What felt like just an absolute drought for Keith as he's looking for a way to close out this set. Oh, that's not going to be it, as Himwe just a little too aggressive from Keith, and Himwe just, you know, said, hey, look, I'll take that and I'll get this W. Thank you very much.
I think if Himwe or if Keith went for that sider option and just left him off edge and had that edge control, he's very good at that. You know, but the problem is he let Himwe get back to that platform and land that sidelight side air, and he had no more options to get back to that ledge outside of jumping. You know, so if you're Himwe, you're comfortable, you're like, hey, I got that. But if you're Keith, you're like, uh-oh, I need to do something quick if I want to go and reset.
Yep. All right, well, let's see how this next game works out here. Going to Apocalypse, and Himwe just needs to keep being aggressive here. Like, well, not aggressive, but just keep playing the same way that you've been playing, really, which is like, it's just passive. Like, you can tell, like, he's kind of like fading back on a lot of these hits. You just kind of waiting to see if Keith gets a little too aggressive or overshoots it all and just gets a nice little punish out of it.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, we're seeing Keith try to approach with this sword, which is going back and forth a little bit. You know, it's not giving him an incredible amount of lead. It's just kind of more of exchanges. but you know Keith's gonna go back to those guitars, go do a lot of damage build up with those. But Himwe's dash dancing is actually working against Keith right now a tad bit. You know, I think Himwe's doing it to kind of make Keith miss an attack, and he can punish the recovery frames a little bit. He's not actually punishing anything right now. He's just dash dancing.
Yep. Okay. Here we go. Get some decent damage in there. Nothing too crazy. And I think that's what Keith kind of recognizes here, is that Keith is definitely prone to overextending on these combos a little bit.
Yeah, I do see that too. That definitely brings up a good point, because now Himwe's been punishing them, but now Himwe got a little bit aggressive, and Keith comes in with a double sider option. That weapon throw comes in, but actually gave Keith or Himwe another option to come back to that ledge, and that down sig lands by him when the neutral air lands. He's still alive though, is able to touch.
Just was not able to get that hit before getting that wall touch in there. Now back on this stage with a second lease on this stock. And now, okay, I was to say, this is the only one that has a weapon in hand, but this sword definitely been doing some pretty decent work here.
Cool. Yeah, Apocalypse being Apocalypse there, he's unable to land that neutral air knockout on Himwe, and I think Himwe is very comfortable with that because he can get the sidelight sider option. Now having that platform control, that dare misses twice, 3 times into a downlight sider by Keith, and it just came down to Himwe keep on throwing it out to a point where Keith just approached properly and was able to punish it.
Yep, but now we got that scythe back out here too. There we go. Not gonna be able to close that one out. Goes to the weapon toss. Now weaponless there. Ah, there's that spawn. Okay, gets that orb right back in hand as well. He's looking for it.
He is. And Himwe trying to go for these dare options a lot, but that side air option does go ahead and land and make things 2 stocks all. But Himwe's actually going to go to the orb now instead. I think he feels more comfortable with the orb. It landed once, but Keith is, you know, on that sword for now. I think once Keith is on guitars, Himwe's going to go over to the side.
Oh, there we go.
That was close. Oh. He almost missed that ledge too. I mean, the orb gameplay from Himwe is coming out very, very strong right now. You're seeing Keith try to land these nuclear options to try to get some sort of control, but Himwe is just reading the falling of Keith, and the side sider leads into the side air as well. Keith does go and touch back, but that sider's been coming in clutch for Himwe, and that dare comes in. Keith is out of with that dare option as well. Oh, he saved him! He saved his food just to side air him! Are you kidding me, Himwe?
Okay. I mean, there's a part that I think he was gonna touch the side of the wall anyway, so I don't know if he was actually trying to save him. Just trying to like kind of mix it up there a little bit. But now, yeah, we're in a really dangerous position here for Keith. Himwe's entire string just kind of keeping Keith on that back foot for like what seemed like 2 minutes or something like that. It was a long time. Definitely super clutch.
Yeah, but now if you're Keith, man, you gotta do something. You know, this orb is messing you up a little bit. That sword downlight into recovery lands. Recovery lands again with that sword. That side signature is gonna miss. He maybe can go off ledge with that side sig too. That's an option, but downlight recovery lands. Recovery. You see downlight into recovery lands again. He's been landing that a lot, and Himwe's not been doing well against that.
Yeah, I mean, he just did it like 4 times in a row.
Yeah, and I think Himwe is going to go back to that scythe and be like, hey, and Keith's like, you know what, my guitar's been doing well. I'm sure they're going to do well against the scythe. Himwe's like, uh-oh, I'm not playing guitars against scythe. That's not going to work out. And now Himwe's back on that orb, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, right now, I mean, this orb, we saw how much work it did, you know, just doing a really good job of keeping Keith out and just racking up damage slowly. And now, in a last stock scenario here, Himwe needs to get this game or we go to that reset immediately. Now that scythe coming out into play keeps him off the stage. Trying to find a way to get that last hit, but Keith just barely battling through.
Yeah, that was honestly a very smart move from Keith, with that recovery option, the way he landed that. That was very low to the point where he could allow him to get back. He almost got knocked out right off that ledge. And now with Himwe not being able to knock him out there, he is able to go and land that sidelight side air to make us go into a game number 5 between Himwe and Keith. And you know Keith's got to figure out something here. I mean, he has to. That the Azuri originally was working, but then Himwe went to the fake. What can he really pull out here? He's probably going to pull out the same character, but what play style can he pull out here, Skiff?
I kind of think you just kind of keep doing what you're doing. You just got to figure out how to get around this orb. Because I don't think he's playing bad or wrong. Because obviously he's not. He's sitting in grand finals here. But it's really just dealing with this orb. I think that Himwe's just been playing that strong and consistent. It's a good like defensive play style, right? It just kind of, it's really just coming down, I think, to Keith just kind of running into some of these things and just not being more patient.
Yeah, and I think that's what we saw in the previous games as well, which is why I'm glad you brought that up too. Was he was being really aggressive and he was whipping, and that's what Plum was punishing him on, right? So now if your Keith, you got to make sure your attacks land fully as much as you possibly can, and make sure that accuracy rate's very high against Himwe, while also, going in within the ranges of those attacks. Like for example, Dare has a hitbox, but there's a space in between the character and the Dare option sometimes too that he can fill in. And he's been doing that a couple times, but now Himwe is saying, you know what, there is, but I'm gonna land a triple Dare knockout on you, and I'm gonna take the mental advantage and knocks Keith into that second stock here.
Yeah, and it just comes down to this orb. The orb gameplay has just been so solid and strong from Himwe this entire set so far, and Keith just does not have a real answer for it.
No, he doesn't, but he does have an opportunity knocking out Himwe right here and having Himwe forced on a scythe, because he picked up orb twice. This is the second orb Himwe picked up, so it means the next one's going to be the scythe. So if Keith can knock out Himwe here, and make sure he doesn't grab that weapon and give himself another one next game, well, he might have the advantage here, and he's going to weapon storm him too, so that's going to be huge for him.
Yep, definitely a really big advantage here for Keith. It's definitely the type of opening you need, and you can definitely get a little bit of that momentum going for you here, especially when you're on the cusp of not just losing grands, but getting reverse 3-0'd in the process. And now we see the scythe come out here, gonna toss that scythe away and just have to go unarmed for a little bit, and the orb right back.
Finish on Himwe on the scythe, and now you have Keith having to battle the orb of Himwe, and Himwe's movement is, he's dodging quite quick though. He's moving really, really fast, and that might be an advantage for Keith. There we go. Because that's what Keith was doing against Himwe, but now Himwe's doing it against Keith, and Keith realizes that. He's been punching him very well, gets the neutral light into down light recovery. He's also dodging very quickly too. Okay, yeah, Keith, look at him. He's like, I just want a weapon. I want to pick up my scythe.
And there we go. Yep, doing a pretty solid job. Oh, okay. Definitely was looking for a way to try and close that one out there. Not going to be able to get that hit that they need. And now Keith having a lead here.
He does, but Himwe picks up orb next weapon spawn, right? So that's still a big deal. If Keith can do a lot of damage. Oh, never mind. I was gonna. That was a jinx. Himwe
comes down to this though, AJ.
It does.
Right now, Keith just needs one stock here to try and push us into the reset, and Himwe just needs the stock to just win the tournament. And he does have orb in hand, and we've seen what he's been doing with this orb all day today.
Yeah, that neutral control leading into that 2-piece as well.
Oh!
That almost knocked him out just off that ledge. Keith needs to figure out some type of mental advantage or some type of advantage over Himwe here if he wants to win game number 5 and go into a reset. Is down to the wire. This neutral light comes in. Lots of back and forth so far. Oh,
that's huge.
That's huge. The Starlight Sider comes in and lands again. Keith is still alive, but will it be it? Himwe misses a dare. Keith going off ledge for some reason.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Himwe's definitely playing a little too aggressive right now. Go back to what you were doing, the tried and true stuff. Don't push it more than you need to.
Yeah, and you. Oh, Himwe lands the recovery to go in and knock down Keith. And Himwe is your SKADI'S Trial Champion. Oh my gosh, off that recovery to that dare, leading into the dare option. Look at that. Bam, he got the dodge read, and Keith couldn't come back.
That was super slick, man. This orb gameplay from Himwe was just, chef's kiss. Beautiful stuff all day today.
Yeah, and props to both players too. I mean, they're PR1 and PR2 for a reason. And it all came down to Himwe's advantage with that orb, and Himwe knew that and just threw what he needed to against Keith. And that silent side air was the main factor for that too, especially that final stock. that sider led into he landed it twice, leading Keith into this weird options that he had to really push back. He was able to come back, but he was already in the orangey red. So either way, man, that was a fantastic grand finals. Congrats to Himwe on reverse 3 gaming Keith in grand finals.
Yep.
And but props to Keith, man. Props to the Plum, to Serenity. You guys all did fantastic. You guys' playstyles were crazy, and you definitely gave me a new perspective of what Southeast Asia is tonight.
Oh yeah, no, these guys they come to play every time. Again, always a treat casting and watching them. Definitely a very underrated region. But yeah, Keith, love you, man. But yeah, you gotta work on some of that orb counterplay. Like that's definitely got to be your homework at this point. But yeah, you got to hand it to Himwe, man. He knew exactly what he had going for him. You know, didn't push things too far. I mean, every once in a while maybe, but like kind of kept things relatively like controlled. And yeah, just utilize that orb, just recognize the weakness in his opponent and exploit it as much as possible. So yeah, just really good stuff from Himwe all night tonight. So
yeah, for sure. But with that being said, that is it for Southeast Asia today. Now, what we will have, I know, on the broadcast tomorrow is we will be streaming the Trial of SKADI'S Europe and South America events happening tomorrow. I believe based off of what Brawlhalla.com/schedule is, where you guys can find the entire schedule of Brawlhalla events. They will be streaming that at 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, starting with more than likely Europe, because that's usually when they go live, and then they'll lead into South America. I know that you and me will both be there tomorrow there, Skiff. But Is there anything you want to say before we go ahead and hop out for the rest of the day today?
No, man, I don't think I got anything. Just again, I get another congratulations to Himwe. But yeah, we'll see you guys the rest of this weekend here. We've got more Brawlhalla action coming tomorrow, so stay tuned.
With that being said, have a fantastic rest of your night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for Trial of SKADI'S for Europe and for Europe and South America. See you guys later, guys. Those landing options on the Melson, it's amazing, but these dares might just be all he needs. The triple dare in the neutral air lanes. Melson gets Melson's punishing him right now. My fault. Jesus Christ. That was so thank God, because it's one of the better weapons to get these knockout options with. And that side dare.
Sick there, gonna get a quick little punish, and then trying to get a sick up.
Oh, whoa! There we go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
With the sword now gets the dare option. Himwe has to be moving around, trying to adjust. And
Himwe's definitely playing a little too aggressive right now. Go back to what you were doing, the tried and true stuff. Don't push it more than you need to.
Yeah, you